You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Hey, good evening. Welcome to Outside the Box. Yours truly, Kate of Gaia, broadcasting from an undisclosed location somewhere in the universe. Yeah, here on criticalmassradio.co.uk. Yep, there we are. Here we are again, huh? Isn't that funny how that works? Never seems to be too far away, does it? I didn't really have anything in particular I want to go over tonight, but a few things did cross the brain pan today. I'd like to thank Steve Travesty for had sent me a link for a movie called Branded. It's a co-production between a Russian director and an American director, and it's a beautiful portrayal of how the seeds of discord get planted, and it uses marketing and branding as a very, very powerful tool. There's also a ritual that he does within it. It's an ancient ritual, a burning of the red cow. He goes through the ritual anyway, which effectively allows you to, once you finish this ritual, see things that other people don't see. And I'm sure many of you out there are seeing things that others aren't seeing, and you can't put it into words. You just kind of go, yeah. And we've been taught to doubt that. That's called your intuitive, your gut instinct, your Virgo womb creation area. But one of the things I did want to go over, there was a post just came up on Facebook. And thanks, Derek. I do occasionally like to translate literal legal into the spiritual trap that it is, just so people have a better understanding. And it's spelled out very neatly for you if you know how to read properly. In terms of you don't want to be a lawyer anyway to get stuff. You don't have to be. It's right in your face for anyone that's dealing in planet Earth commerce at all whatsoever. So this is what Derek had posted. Check out this definition for person that he just came across. So here we go. Let me just do it literal, and then I'll give you the spiritual contracts that are contained within it and show you some of the phonetic connections to prove this. Person means a known body corporate. Well, we all know that corporate is corpse, dead, right? Trust, association, partnership, sole proprietorship, or individual, whether in existence or not, and includes the known name or known trademark for which any of them carry on business or identify themselves. Okay. Part 2, Section 1, for the purpose of Clause 10, 1B of the Act, if the use of that name would be likely to deceive includes. Yeah. And that's what the whole thing is. Any use of a name uttered, written, spoken, hinted at is all spiritual contract. Because what you're doing is you're separating yourself from all of consciousness. That's what you don't want to do. That's completely contrary to what we want to do. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, a person means a known body corporate. So if you are known by a name, you are a known body corporate, and you're carrying on business in the Whore of Babylon under that corporate dead fiction, the dead crone whore. Crown Corporation, Crow Mine, Crow N, Crow Magnon sounds more like it, right? Better get their eyebrows embossed even bigger. Really lets them away, and you can see the slant of the forehead with no prefrontal lobe too. All the clues are there if you can look. You just need the eyes to see it. Bottom line is very simple. If you are using any sort of a legal name identification and are still in full party to it, you are under a spiritually binding contract. Now, there was questions that came up to me today. I'm going to bring them up, and it's asking about two individuals in particular, and I will share my perspective on it. People can think what they want. I don't give a royal rat's ass because for me, it's only about the truth, and I'm going to touch back on what I was talking about last night with the new Cage CoinTel Pro. free energy, selling the new cage paradigm, the peace, love, internal grooviness shit, and all the rest of it to keep you trapped in the bliss or the glee of insanity, rather, where bliss is what you're really looking for. Now, I was asked if Santo used my documents in court. He had sent in pretty much everything and was staying ahead of the curve, and that. When they came for him, they had taken a lot of time to compile a lot of files, and that to me is just a measure of the threat that he is. And the only thing that got him was the simple fact that he claimed to be that name. And there were still some things in place. I'm sure I know of one that were spiritual contracts still binding him to the whore of Babylon. So that's my overview on it, and really, it goes on here. He also asked, why is Dean Clifford still in jail for 3 months? Well, he doesn't know who he is yet, and I'm going to be very gentle on this. All legal is all fiction, and for those that have been at this table long enough, you know exactly what I'm saying. It's the same thing, like you go back a week ago today, what was different between what I've done and what others have done, and why did these guys tuck tail and head for the hills? Well, it's quite simple, because there's no spiritually binding contract. This is the power of your choice. This is the part that you're going to find the hardest to believe. This, like in the movie Branded, this is the one thing that I can see, just like this guy could see things growing out of the back of people's necks in the form of like parasites. And it was an allegorical representation of their desires and their ego and their lusts, and it also showed that when that desire was fulfilled, this thing would break off and create this monster around the brand name that they were desiring so strong. So it was feeding the beast, as it were. And here's the thing about the documents. Yeah, lots of people use my documents. Many use them with great perfect success, and others don't. None of the writing has changed. What changed? Well, that's what it is. It's the ones that know who they are. Do not get into any spiritual contract with vampires or werewolves. They don't get invited in. There's no assumption and presumption allowed at this point. There's not even, come out here and have a look, your gas tank, that's an order. No, I'm sorry, I'm well aware of it. And quite frankly, if I was in danger, I'd know all about it. I'll trust me, because I'll tell you, anyone walking around with a uniform clown suit with a 9mm penis extension and with orders to rape and pillage and steal, I'm not going to listen to that. You're not going to threaten me either. There's the magic, right? You're going to pull a stunt, then pull a stunt. But I know all you're holding is a busted straight to my royal flush, to the ace of spades high. That's where I stand. And it's not about being arrogant. It's about standing in your power, knowing truth and where you've got to in that truth. And you do not relinquish it. You do not yield it. The other side of it, too, is, there are, for anyone that's still playing in the legal game, that's still trying to pull the stunts, the only ones that are actually that would deem to be winning is, again, this COINTELPRO stuff, to keep people in that same paradigm, just like the New Agers, the New Cagers, just like the Opt, Nasara, all of these other carrots that keep getting waved to keep people thinking physical accoutrements, physical comforts, appease the ego, make everybody happy and still in that state of insanity. And the only ones that are getting any form of a win whatsoever, and I put that in very small letters with huge quotation marks, are ones that I would deem complete and only COINTELPRO. The other ones are that are, like, say, in jail or whatever, they're getting taken out of the way to keep them safe, right? It also lends to the concept that I carry that anyone that's still creating conflict, I don't want in my universe. I don't want in my reality. And anyone that's out there pumping legal shit is you might as well be pumping manure out of the back of a truck into someone's throat. So I'm not really into that either. So I just call a spade a spade. But anyway, interesting. I noticed a lot of connections regarding the Rubicon. Someone sent me an email with a Rubik's Cube, and of course, Dee's been right on line with everything I've been talking about, and of course, things that he's not even aware of. I'm opening it up, and I've already had a look at it, kind of stuff. What was the other one? Referencing Mott, and what? Oh, that was another thing I wanted to get into tonight. During the conversation I had with Steve, was talking about the transgendered aspect of Michelle Obama and who Obama is. And for me, it's very simple. It's a physical representation trying to feign power in the physical realm. There you have Akhenaten in the form of Obama. You've seen the profile shots, right? The physical aspect. So there's someone that's trying to be thought. And, of course, Mott, which is a transgender or transgender, Michelle Obama, who is the negative physical attribute of Mott. So I look at that as being the double negative of the negative masculine, negative feminine, right? So it's a fractal. I just see the fractals of it, and it made total sense. So again, here's another mimic of natural law, trying to use the power through that. If anyone's buying the bullshit, which I'm not, which completely takes that veil and shroud right off of them and leaves them naked energetically and exposed for the spiritual bullshit vampire werewolf aspect that they're playing here. So I just, I don't buy. Sorry. I'm a careful shopper. Now, there was something very interesting at the beginning of this movie. Branded, all the greats could see something others could not. That's how the movie opened up. And I think for many of you listening that are in this headspace, you will see exactly in this movie what I saw. In what this guy's name was Misha. Yeah, Hannibal, again, pulls it all together. But anyway, this guy Misha, after this ritual, could see these things and no one else could see them. But it gave him an edge, because then he could turn around and use that, what he could see, to change the world. And that was one of the quotes that, Joan of Arc, Alexander the Great, who else? Oh, there's a whole list of people, Socrates, etc., that they listed at the beginning, and they all had one thing in common. They all could see something that others couldn't, and they all changed the world. And when you watch this little movie, you'll get the concept of just how easy that really is. It's not difficult at all. It's about what kind of ideas are being planted in your mind, and just have a look at mainstream mass media. Have a look at your society around you. Have a look at the systems that have been constructed around you to pigeonhole you and make you think in a certain way. And have a look at your friends and family and all the communities around you, and watch them go through their robotic day after day routine of the same shit, different day. And then, of course, Ninja did a beautiful piece on the hooks as far as calendars are concerned. And I'm just going to check the board, because I'd really love for her to come in and read her essay. It's very poignant. And, no, she's not on the board that I can see. But anyway, the call's out to her, and I don't hear from her. I will pull it up and read it myself. Because it's, again, the calendars are, what's his name? Oh, come on. Ian Lungold, right? Anyway, he did a beautiful series on calendar and the control of the calendar and how destructive it is in terms of getting people to be planning ahead, thinking ahead, getting people built into certain emotional responses. I mean, look at the emotion around Christmas, look at the emotion around Valentine's, look at the emotion around St. Pat's, look at the emotion around Independence Days and Halloween and all of the rest of this stuff. And you'll see that there are ingrained within each one of these, quote, festivals, feast of alls, the energies that are being presented and how they're being manipulated. And we all fell into it. here I went out, grab a few groceries today, and they've got all the Easter stuff set up, and it's just a grocery store. But this whole calendar marketing bullshit paradigm has got people so conditioned, right? You go into a store right after Christmas, and they're already setting up for spring. Got to get the spring fashions, got to get the summer fashions, got to get the fall and winter, and it's a constant barrage of branding. Now look at the word branded. Well, I changed that phonetically, and it tells me it's easy. It's brain dead, brand dead, brain dead. Same difference, right? Just like a cow. And that's the interesting thing about this movie as well, is it opens up with a kid having a vision, and the stars in the sky in the shape of a cow's head turn to him. So there's your cow jumps over the moon, hey Thor, and it goes on and on. I want to get down those trails as well. I have a few things I'm going to get into tonight. I wanted to talk about the Red Hand of Ulster and some etymology as per Mike Tessarian from his website. I thought this is well worth reading in terms of etymology, and there's a lot of different references in this as well. And I also found out that I talked about this last night. King Mean also had another name. Let me see, what would that be? Aha, that's what it is. And it was also apparently a name of one of his sons. But there's your aha moment. This is King Mean. Now remember what mean means, right? It means an average. Okay, so there are no coincidences here. And once you see the anagogic, everything becomes literal in a different reality. So you're coming out of the literal reality, seeing the allegory, seeing what it's really meaning, redefine it through Phoenician, and now you've got a completely different literal reality. So that's how you step away from it. I covered this with the allegory of shoot the bull and why it meant what it meant. So let me quickly go through that just to get you in this train of thought. To start digging deeper into this stuff, bring your crayons, okay? Shoot the bull, okay. Allegorically, when someone would say that, as a common saying I've heard for many years, it means just to go and let's go shoot the bull, let's go have a talk, right? So, no one ever asked why. So I did. And I thought, okay, well, why does shoot the bull mean to go and talk? Yeah, it's an allegory. It's a metaphor, actually, not quite the allegory. So I look at it, and I think, okay, well, you've got shoot, which means to eject or push forth. There's your theos. And the H plays a very important role here, too. But anyway, you have the law of truth, T, the note of love, kappa, ta, L, right? You have the H, which is the Pillars of Solomon joined with the rainbow bride, take the hex out, and then they're mated. And you have E, which is the mirror of 9, which is consciousness. And bull. Well, bull is Taurus. Remember, if there is a sound, there are many intentions contained within it, and you can use whatever one you want. So if I can say the bull from Taurus, that's an agreed upon. So there's power in that spell or spelling. So what is a Taurus? Well, a Taurus is a creation field. And you create that when you talk. Anytime you say himself, herself, itself, creation, anytime you say anything, literally, into the Taurus field around you, that's your reality. So shoot the bull, to eject God through the pearly gates of the Taurus mouth into the toroidal field. So shoot the bull works. Just like Anubis. I explained this one, I think, last night or the night before. Anu, meaning heart, and biz, meaning duality. So it's the heart of duality. And that most certainly is death. No question. So there's the words proved. Now, do you think the Egyptians were thinking this? Of course they were, but they weren't aware of it. That's the thing. We're playing the game of awareness, not the game of knowing. We're in Aquarius. We're in that point of, well, you know all things. No question. You know all things. You have just been made less aware of them, and that's the whole dumbing down process. And again, it's just a game. It's a cosmic joke. Can you get past it? All right, so there's how to take something and redescribe it literally. Shoot the bull from a common thing to say, go and talk. Break down the meanings of the words to prove why it means that, and that's your anagogic. And then I've explained it all literally, so now it's got a new definition literally, and for some that haven't heard that before, you might have had an aha moment, which means you've just added on to your DNA chain, right? The aha moments are your DNA chain. And isn't it funny that King Mean, also known as Aha, creator of the Narmer palette, and also his family line is Scorpions, so he is the Scorpion King. Had to watch that one as well, right? And what is the Narmer palette all about? Well, it's for me, it's complete hex of the name and any form of writing. Now remember, write is ritual, R-I-T-E. So that is a physical effect representation of a very spiritual, very powerful spiritual intent. So when you are physically writing something, you are creating magic spells, creating a reality. If you want to question that, then write a nasty email to someone and see what you've created. Write a nice one and see what you've created. Write a boring one and see what you've created. If you want proof of how you can convey your intent. And this gets very clear very quickly with this movie, Branded. All right, let's go down means for a sec. Amazing Bible Timeline with World History was the .com. AmazingBibleTimeline.com is this article is. So I just want to share this. Actually, who I always like to share who did it. Doesn't seem to have anyone as an author, but anyway, it's you and me anyways. It doesn't really matter. Means, okay. So King Means. Ancient Egypt was once composed of two kingdoms, Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. Sound familiar? As above, so below. Physical, spiritual. Keep it there, and you'll see what's going on here. The cobra symbolized Lower Egypt, so there's your serpent snake. Okay, your emotions. While the lotus symbolized Upper Egypt. Now, don't forget, Lower Egypt is at the top and Upper Egypt is at the bottom. It's upside down on the Nile. Okay, so yeah, nothing like screwing your head around. But anyway, the cobra symbolized Lower Egypt while the lotus symbolized Upper Egypt. King Means of Lower Egypt unified the two kingdoms after conquering Upper Egypt, is a descendant of Ham. That's another biblical character. That just tells me very simply that the spirit got duped at that point. That's what united them. Come on, play with the rest of us. Yeah, okay, sure. Anyway, King Means started the dynasties of Egyptian pharaohs that continued until the death of Cleopatra and the successful Roman invasion of Egypt. There's that Roman thing again. He was the first pharaoh who was able to wear the crowns of the two former kingdoms, just like Henry VIII, or I think it was Henry IV, Henry Tudor, was able to wear the red and white roses when he ended up, he married someone from the White Roses, so to bring it together. So there's another fractal of the same story. So he was the first pharaoh who was able to wear the crowns of the two former kingdoms, the white crown of the upper kingdom and the red crown of the lower kingdom. And there's that red and white again, the purity and the emotions. The king of the two united kingdoms resided in the original lower kingdom, because he loved his physical, the more industrialized portion of the two kingdoms even today. Of course, has to be the more industrialized. It's all about commerce with these wankers. He built his capital city, money city, Memphis, in the middle of the two kingdoms. And there's that meme, another right in between, meme phi s. So there's the middle of the sacred geometric creation in the divine feminine. Serpent s. in the middle of the two kingdoms. So he constructed a big dam there. Imagine that. Let's block the truth. And created another way for the river to flow. So he changed directions of the river. So there's a few things have to get taken out. I'd say the pyramids, a little dam issue, right? That's where we all got damned. Isn't that funny? Menes was said to have ruled for 62 years and died after being defeated when he fought against a hippopotamus. Hippocampus, hippopotamus, yeah, it totally made sense. The Egyptian symbol for an invader from a distant land. Yeah, that's what happens when you mess with Mother Nature. The Narmer palette. King Menes was associated with different names such as Aha, Min from Minotaur, Menelaus. You might have heard of Menelaus, Trojan Wars. All connects. Fractals. And Manas. And what is mana? Mana. Oh, that was something the Israelites went after, right? Until the discovery of the Narmer palette discovered at Heracompolis, along with his mace head. That's the scorpion mace head. Both of them were found there. Rebus of the name Narmer was found on the palette. Now there's that rebus, remember? Clausula, rebus, sextantibus. So I've got 3 of the 4. I'm just waiting for the last one. I might even have it already. But anyway, rebus of the name Narmer was found on the palette above the catfish symbol. This gets better, guys. Cat, spirit of crucifixion. Fish, Pisces. Ancient Egyptians' genealogy can be traced by a totem. And it was believed that Narmer's ancestor must have belonged to the family whose symbol was scorpion, as shown on the potteries discovered. The palette shows Narmer to be wearing the red crown and the white crown in different incidents. And it also gave evidence that writing in cloth started almost at the same era. Interesting, huh? What you're writing and what you're wearing. Awareness? Okay. Veils, cloaks. The mace head being found was interpreted as the pharaoh's union to Princess Nehotep by marriage. Well, you know what academia is like. The tomb of Nehotep at Nakada shows the names of the 2 kings, Narmer and Aha. King Aha was believed to be the son of King Narmer and Princess Nehotep. Narmer's tomb, here's where it gets real interesting. There were 2 tombs discovered that were connected to King Narmer. One was found in Abydos. The guy's name I couldn't think of in the adversary, he was called Abaddon. So all those books just connected as well here. So complete fictional works spewing utter truth. There's nothing fictional here. Everything in this reality is fictional and truth at the same time. That's the 2 realities you're walking through here. Where are we? Okay, we'll start again. There were 2 tombs discovered that were connected to King Narmer. One was found in Abydos, which belonged to the ancient Upper Egypt by Flinders Petrie. The tomb has 2 chambers and was surrounded by walls of bricks. Important relics associated to Narmer and his family were excavated, but his body was not there. The corpse of Narmer was said to be the one found in the tomb at Knockmany in Northern Ireland. Ireland? Yes. Sumerian scripts seen around the area were similar to those of the empty tomb found in Abydos. Now, where I lived at Rathfern, I could look across, and there was an obelisk at the top of a hill. It was called the Knock Monument. It's still there. I saw it a couple of years back. And, all of these things growing up as a kid and seeing these citadels and different little things going on, you can really see the influence of Ireland going abroad and coming back. You can see the transition. It's pretty wild. But isn't that interesting? King Narmer, of all places. So I guess as the 101st Airborne Division of the Spiritual Unit, I definitely got dropped in behind enemy lines. Anyway, yeah, Belfast. Be curious to see how far away from that it is. But anyway, it's in Northern Ireland. Funny that, eh? King Means in the Bible. Now, Mizraim is the ancestor of the Egyptians as mentioned in the Bible. Since Means is known as the first pharaoh of the United Kingdoms and is considered by secular historians to be the founder of Egypt, historians Manetho and Herodotus deduce that the name Means is similar to Mizraim. Now, we're dealing with Phoenician here, guys, about what words mean, what it all means. The meanings, right? Or the meanings. Isn't it interesting that when someone is not being nice, they're being mean as well? It's not a coincidence. Given that, let me go back to my notes, wherever the hell I put those. Here they are. Because I'm going to go back to what Mystified had shared, because I wrote it down. And where is it? This is what happens when the cop flips open their book. They're on a mission to cause harm and ill will to all living things, as per the Narmer or Namer palette. These are not coincidences. I've already proven the word for you. If you want to break it down into common understandings, remember, if there's a sound that has a meaning attached to it, you can use it. That's why the sound is critical, and you got to listen closely and change all the sounds of the vowels and the consonants within the same word. Just like branded becomes brain dead, right? You can see that. So where was I? Was on a way. I just lost it. But that was it. Narmer. I was looking for it because I wrote it out in long form. Makes it easier just to read it out once I've got it written out. Okay, Narmer. Let's just do it again. It's easier. Do I have it? I did have it, but I probably might have it in my book. But anyway, Narmer. N-A, not applicable. R, spirit breath. Ro. So not applicable spirit breath. Nar. M-E, magnetic electric. All of creation, right? The base is the power of creation and the intent followed through in the electric. So there's magnetic electric and, of course, spirit breath, Ro, again. So what do we have? We have not applicable spirit breath in the magnetic electric spirit breath, right? Means your voice is stolen. You are effectively silenced. You are dead. And that's what the Narmer palette does. I would say that if you cannot speak, it's like I tell people, like with mortgages and loans and stuff, you got these people fighting courts for, mortgages, but they never bring the one that they actually lent the money to into court, right? It's the bank manager that defrauded you, the one that had up the paperwork. You lent them the money to buy the house. They sealed it with their DNA when they touched it. Midas touch. Read that essay. And spiritual contracts. That'll explain it all for you. And the loans and mortgages. Who's who. If you want to know what's going on in the banking system spiritually, those are the 3 essays you need to read: the Midas touch, loans and mortgages. Who's who, and spiritual contracts. Because the instant, it's not the signature. Look how long we went through all of this about signatures and X and what it means, UCC 3-349, accommodating parties and all the rest of this bullshit and nonsense. And it was right in front of us, but it was hidden because, I don't know about you, the last time you touched something, I don't think you noticed the DNA you left behind as a raised seal, did you? So that's what I'm looking for, the stuff you can't see. The stuff that I'm not going to assume and presume. And that's what happens when you get in the now and you start really just what really happened. What really, really happened during that whole thing. And if you're stuck in the legal literals, you'll never see it. If you're stuck in the physical forensics, you will never see it. It's only when you get your head into the spiritual forensics that you start seeing this stuff. And this is the stuff I see. And that's what I look for. I look for, all right, every thought is a contract. How the hell did this get sealed? And it was literally when you, like the registration book, the intent to go to the registration to register a child, whether you're being forced or not. And, you hear stories of parents, being held in hospitals or whatever, and they don't want to get their kid registered and all the rest of it. Well, what are you doing in a hospital? Okay, 2, what are you doing with the ID? Right? This is the hard part for us to accept. We do it to ourselves. That's because we've let the egos, the meat stick, comfy zone, party head, whatever you want to call it, that just lives in the physical, lusts in the physical, has had the helm for too long. And it's time to take that helm back. And I assure you, it's not comfortable. Ego really, really hates it. And that's what you'll be fighting. Interesting that I brought this up a while back. This town of Erin, E-R-I-N, is the mirror of Northern Ireland, N-I-R-E. So isn't that kind of funny how that works? Now have a look at the St. Patrick's, the 3-leaf clover. The typical motif you'll see are 3 hearts pointing in to the center on a tree, right? That's Trinity. And this all goes back to the Druidics. And I want to cover some of that with Mike Tessarian's work. But King Mean's contribution to mankind. Okay. Yeah, thanks, asshole. Anyway, excuse me. King Means was believed to have started the formality of writing. Yeah. Historian Siculus said that he was the first lawyer. How about that? After unifying, now remember the Hyksos, Mike Tessarian's work is beautiful because all these thieving little bastard Hyksos and the rest of them, the Milesians and what have you, were all part of the Lower Egypt riffraff. It's like Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves, okay? And that's basically what we're dealing with this crew, Akhenaten on up. I mean, they erased the previous history of the Golden Age, right? And they turned everybody into Ra worshippers, completely screwing the notion of what the Druids had been teaching all along. And this guy Akhenaten decided to make himself God on Earth, Ra itself, right? Yeah, and look at academia. All the archaeologists, the sun sets and rises on this guy's asshole. Akhenaten, Nefertiti, and King Tut, Tutankhamun, and all the rest of it. All a bunch of psychos. You should do some research on Akhenaten. This guy had a deformed head. He was psychotic, and his actions proved it out. First pharaoh to ever surround himself with a cabinet of generals, armed guards, went around with armed details and stonemasons to destroy the hieroglyphs, to rewrite the history, effectively trying to eliminate all previous histories from before that. Yeah, super guy. Anyway, so here's King Mean's contribution. It bears repeating. King Means was believed to have started the formality of writing. Historian Siculus said that he was the first legislator, first lawyer. After unifying and later on ruling the two kingdoms, King Means started the Egyptian civilization of pharaohs, who later on appeared in the Bible under the texts about Egypt. Among them, one of the most famous is the pharaoh mentioned in Exodus. Hey, check this out. Same crew. Pharaoh mentioned in Exodus who was cursed by God for trying to prevent the exodus of the Israelites. And that whole allegory there is the parting of the Red Sea. That's finally getting through your emotions so you can pass through there safely. Well, of course, after the Israelites, they like to make them out to be something better than they are. Israelites and Hebrews are not the same thing, okay? Hebrew is the Hebride. That's the true je, okay? These other guys are, again, this is all about copyright, right? So the Israelites, after they raped and pillaged Egypt and the Hyksos and the rest of their crew, and of course, look at modern Judaism. It's all it is Egyptian done all over again. I'll get into that in the Mike Tessarian articles. Now, because of the unification, the kings became more prudent in protecting their borders. Yeah, no kidding. This kind of a wanker running around, I'd be protecting mine too. Means was the one who launched the first Egyptian navy. There's your admiralty, which he started at Memphis. Isn't that funny? Elvis has left the building. It is believed that he also founded Crocodilopolis, reptilian brainstem DNA. What are the odds of that? During his reign, he was able to stretch his territory up to the first cataract. Yeah, what is a cataract? Well, that's something that blinds you, isn't it? All right? So this monkey dick gave us cataracts of the spiritual kind. Anyway, that's all there is on that article. I just wanted to share that and have a bit of fun with that piece of history. Oh, Joe Tara's in here, so let me bring her in. Then I want to get into the Mike Tessarian. Joe, how are you doing down under, baby?
Really well. How are you?
There you are. Good.
Really well. I went to see the movie Pompeii. Do you want to finish what you were going to do first?
Yeah, which movie, Pompeii?
It's only just out at the theatre now.
Oh,
so
right on. Oh, yeah, I did hear about that. Did you hear about the latest that Russell Crowe is playing Noah?
Yeah.
Right? He seems to play in a lot of these, just like Nicolas Cage loves to play in these things, right? It just messing with your head. There's a great, who was it? He does such a great repartee on things. Oh, forget the guy. Anyway, he just slaughtered Noah. You know, it's hard to believe that 68% of Americans still think that that Noah was able to build. You know, he's 600 years old with his 100-year-old son, build a boat in one day and round up 3 million different species of animals, all indigenous, within a 5-10 mile radius. You know, in one day. And there are people that believe this.
And feed them for 40 days.
I know.
And
crazy.
for 40 days. That's actually, it was on as a preview. I went to the pictures to watch Pompeii, and Noah was a preview, and I went with my sister, and I'm saying the same. People actually believe that. They make it look like, you know, he's got these powers, he just has this connection, you know, sort of, you know, and all these animals pouring onto the ship, and huge.
Yeah, huh?
And there are that many names in there. I thought, they really want this one pushed home.
Yep. Again, that's the desperation of the system, but it also works in our favor too, because it exposes it even further for those with eyes to see, so it makes it even easier for us to dispel that. And that's what this movie Branded really pushes that point home. And it is about planting the seeds. It is about changing someone's mind by just giving them a new idea, something different. And that's all it takes. And when this movie, it's not high budget, but I got to tell you, it's brilliant. It cuts right home. It's on Putlocker if you want to watch it. Just type in "Watch Now" Branded and in your browser, and it pops up on the search. And just watch it. I think it's an hour and 20 minutes, something like that. The acting is pretty good. It's got Max von Sydow in it. Of course, he plays the bad guy, and you'll love how that part ends. So. This game, as far as the illusion, is over, so all we have to keep doing here is maintaining our position, keep the search for truth for our own DNA build-up of the aha moments, because every aha you get, this is why I tell people to do this, whether it's a big one or a little one, you're adding to your DNA chain. And these little ahas can bridge you to the next big aha, okay? So this is how you turn your DNA back on. This is the program. It's the game. It's how it works. And not only that, once you're doing this, you're impervious to cell frequencies, radio frequencies, a 60 hertz cycle that's getting pumped through the the electrical lines, that carrier wave that's getting shot out through your TV. Even though it's turned off, it's still got the automatic on, instant on, and that frequency still pumping out. All the smart meters, all of these things are designed to create an electronic fog, and those that are not above that fog are walking around in it, and they don't know whether their arseholes punched or bored most days, and they'll just keep playing the same program over and over and over. So this is about being mindful, being awake, and being aware, and knowing who you are. You're not a name. That's you want to play with King Means, you go ahead. I'm okay. I've got my own scorpion mace. Thank you very much. But interesting that, Joe? Just the way people.
Pompeii.
Yeah, well,
Pompey
why don't you do that?
Or I'll do that when you're ready, yeah.
Okay. If you want to do it now, we got a good signal right now. Where are we on the clock? We got lots of time. Yeah, we still got like an hour and 12 here. I haven't talked that long. And it would probably take me about 20, 25 minutes to go through my stuff. So just do your thing. And then I'll carry on. It'll probably reinforce everything you're going to say anyway. Everything's perfect. You know that.
Yeah, totally. Okay, Pompeii. It comes up northern Britannia. And you've got the Celts living in this area that is stopping the trade route for Rome to get through. So they send in a legion of Romans, all in their red, and they massacre the Celts, every single one of them. The guy who's the leader is Kiefer Sutherland, and I looked at him and thought, you look like your father who plays the part in the Hunger Games, the psychopath, and he's playing a similar part. He massacres the whole lot. There's one boy who watches everything, and he's knocked down, and he actually just plays dead. He has to play dead, and they take all the dead and put them in a pile. They said, like, kill the lot and hang some from trees. The boy's playing dead. Then when he leaves, he gets up, and he ends up being taken by a slave trader. Okay, so he becomes a slave. Then the next scene, he is a big man as a gladiator. He's in this arena and he just kills, these people. And there's a Roman guy there who's watching, saying, oh, this is so boring. And then they bring in him, who does this massacre of these other slaves. And they go, okay, we don't want him at the provinces. We're going to take him to one of the towns and make more money out of him. So on the way in, these slaves have been chained and they're taken in. There's a girl from Pompeii, she's one of the Trinity, I'll come to that, who goes past in a carriage, and the horse goes into a puddle, breaks its leg, and he sees it, and because he's connected to horses, because he's a Celt, he asks to have it to help. And they, get away, savage, what do you know? And she looks at him and she says, let him help, because she sees the horse is hurt. Anyway, so when the slave trader guy says to him, you're just a savage, what's your name? And he says, untie me so I can help. And she looks up and says, let him. He doesn't answer his name. He questions him back. He tells him what to do back. Anyway, ends up killing the horse.
Yeah, that sounds like us.
That's it. He breaks the horse's neck, and they go, he's just a savage. Sorry about that. She said, no, it took more strength to kill it, to know that's what was needed, and knowing that he could be damaged for actually killing the horse. Anyway, so he goes in to Pompeii. He's taken into Pompeii, and I'll cut some of I'm trying to just hit to the analogies. In Pompeii, when he gets into underneath the big arena where they...
Joe, don't feel rushed. Don't feel rushed. Tell the story. Please. There's no hurry here. In Pompeii, he's taken underneath the the big arena where all the slaves are taken in there, and he's put in with this big black guy, who is the champion. He's got one more kill to go the next day, and then he's going to be set free, because that's the Roman rule. And when he has to fight the young, this guy I'm talking about. He is. Oh, I don't need to go there. They're going to fight. He's going to fight him, and they're both in the same cell. And he says to him, "What is your name?" And again, he looks at him and says, "Why would I?" Is my rooster? Why would I give a name? Yeah, that's it. Why would I give you a name when I'm only going to have to kill you tomorrow? And so they actually end up building up a bit of a rapport, and he thinks this guy is going to kill them, and he's going to be released. The Romans come in and end up doing a dirty on them. Of course, they're not going to let him be released. They're going to slaughter them all again.
And that's the only time that he actually, when they both recognise the truth, and the big black guy, when they're actually out in the arena practicing, he realises what's starting to go on. And where was I going with that? Oh, they said, do you think you're going to be released tomorrow? They're just going to change the law. They're just going to change. They'll just, change it. He goes, I don't believe those men, but I trust Roman law. He goes, do you really? Do you really? And that's really pointed out because, of course, they break their vow, and that's when the other guy eventually, when they recognise the strength of each other and what the complete lying Romans, they shake hands and he gives him his name. There's the energy exchange of the spirit connection of truth.
Yep.
Then there's the girl that's in there. He gets to see the girl again. Her mother is actually Trinity from the Matrix.
Oh, very cool.
The mother, father, and the bad guy in that series we all watched last year that went on forever. What's the name of it? The Two Worlds.
Fringe.
No, the bad guy in Fringe is the father.
Oh, okay.
And he gets the Romans to come because they want to rebuild this massive arena and rebuild Pompeii. So they've got all these little city, like little architectural setup, miniature parts of what they're going to do with the town. He gets the Romans in because that's where the money is, even though Pompeians don't really like the Romans. So he's actually, you see where he falls, the father sells his soul for money because the same Legion Roman guy who massacres the Celts is the guy that comes in to Pompeii on the horses in purple. They're all in purple this time. They come in and basically he's saying, I want to marry your daughter, and she left Rome to get away from this guy. You have to let me marry your daughter and then I'll invest in this. And he does the deal. So he does the deal with the devil. He eventually dies at the hands of this guy by the sword. The mother dies as well because they both didn't hold the truth. They both let their money and fear take over them. The girl stands in her truth and connects, of course, with the slave guy, and he rescues her. And they actually die at the end. You got that. You think they're going to ride away into the sunset on this horse as Pompeii is. There's that big volcano that erupts. That's how the story goes, and it shows it in the movie. It's completely destroyed, but also a tidal wave destroys it at the same time. So you got the water of truth, everything, the fire, the ash, the whole place is crumbled and taken to the ground because they let the Romans in.
Well, there you go. And the allegory of the hero and heroine dying is they were not physically. That was the allegory of them being spiritually born. So it was again. See, when you look at the positive and negative in everything, you see it for what it's saying. I used the same allegory to describe Judas. When Judas hung himself, it wasn't a literal physical hanging. It was showing that it was a spiritual release of it. And you'll see that in this movie, Branded, as well. You'll see it in all of these movies. They all have the same story, just told from different actors and different perspectives. That's all.
Yep, I could see it so clearly yesterday. I watched it. Someone said, "Did you enjoy the movie?" And I went, yeah, not as entertainment. I didn't enjoy it or not enjoy it. I realised I was there doing the whole analogy, everything through it, going, there's that there. There's your name, there's your money, there's your laws, there's your Trinity, there's the God Self, there's two people holding truth and going into ash at the end, like they've managed their egoic nature, So yep. I'm there. So when I was asked, "Did you enjoy it?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I don't watch it from that perspective anymore."
Yeah, and it's so much more. In terms of entertaining, it's so much more entertaining because you're seeing what's really going on, and you start putting not only the pieces in the movie together, but you start looking around society and you start seeing things play out. I mean, that's exactly why, I spotted things like Obama and Michelle trying to mimic Mott and Thought, right? In the sense of the physical sun god worship. Right up to the point where Obama, they've done the overlay of Akhenaten's face with him, and it fits to a T. It's not coincidence. So on that note, that's awesome. I'm going to look forward to. It'll probably be on. When did Pompeii come out? Any idea? Oh, I lost you there.
No, just me. I just pressed.
Has it been out long?
I'm not sure.
Okay, well, if it's been
sure.
out for any longer any longer than 48 hours, it'll already be online. So that's the standard trend that I noticed. So, but that being said, there's going to be mention of Brittany and Britannia in this little essay. So there you go. Watch how this all ties together. Now this is from. What's that?
Sorry, go on. That whole Northern Ireland, like it was the Celts that got massacred. It was them stopping the trade route. It was he was called. They only called him the Celt.
Yeah, just like the Spaniard and Gladiator, and I was listening to a lot of and it's the same parallels. The thing about Gladiator though was they were still glorifying a Roman soldier. In this case, look what's happening. They're starting to get to the real truth of what's going on. Even in the movie King Arthur, the Celts were deemed to be the bad guys and everything else, and it was them that held back the Saxons and took care of business. But even still, the Roman legions, Sarmatians, that were all part of the Roman legions as well. All of this history plays out so beautifully in the anagogic. When you have eyes to see it, it's beyond magical. I'll tell you, the peace of mind it gives you knowing that, I'm not crazy, is really awesome, So here we go. I just want to get into this, and thank you so much, Joe. That's exactly the kind of book report I love to get because it shows that you're looking at it from the energy perspective. You're seeing how the fractal of the whole world is being played out in an hour and a half or 2 hours, and that's the case with every movie. Okay, so here we go. Introduction. Another good one to watch too is Beowulf. It's kind of like it's animated, but it's kind of got that real human look to it. So it's right. It's right between the worlds. Anyway, that's another good one. And of course, Beowulf has to take out the heart of the dragon to kill it, and that's the only target I had. I'm not about to try and cut a hydra's head off for it to grow 2 more. And the Romans in the Roman law, they will change the rules to suit themselves. As soon as you are in agreement with their rules, then they have you spiritually. They have you spiritually bound, and whatever they do, you've agreed to. Best not to agree with. You cannot negotiate with an ego. So I just do what Jack Reacher does. I put one in its head. Put it to just like the Celt did with the horse of Babylon, right? The horse is injured, kill it and break its neck. There was another reference I wanted to talk about with regards to Mark X, horse and whores as well. I think it's probably because of this article. So let me read this. I'll go as far into this as I feel I need to, but there's a lot of valuable information here for etymology, connecting the dots. If you're looking for things to just show you that you're absolutely on the right track, following the sound, just follow the sound. Just the same way as you follow the money, it's the same thing. So here's the introduction, and it's from the Appendix 17, Etymology, Key to the Past. Now, cities may burn, floods may destroy, pestilence may kill, and wars may ravage, yet a word may survive. And that's from Henry Binkley Stein, 30,000 Gods Before Jehovah. The subject of etymology concerns the various meanings, both denotative and connotative, of words. This vitally important subject is well worth serious study. As we review the subject, we would do well to bear in mind the wise counsel of alternative historian Connor McDarry. Is that right? Here, let me just get this a bit closer so I can read it easier. That's that small screen thing trying to read across. All right, this is from an excerpt from the Bible, an Irish book. One of the easiest and most effective ways to promote a deception is by the misspelling of words. In the translation from the original Irish scriptures, the Irish names were changed by the practice of the most astute cunning in order to conceal the source from which they were obtained. In many instances, these names have been distorted and misspelled to such an extent that it has required long, sustained, and patient effort to trace them to their true and proper form. Again, that's from the Bible, an Irish book. The opening line of the Gospel of John reads, "In the beginning was the Word." There is a certain humor here. Perhaps the author added the line with a sly wink because, after all, it is his word that begins the book, not God's. Indeed, all books open with words, just as most thoughts are sooner or later put into words, in one language or another. Words are magical. They are the heart and soul of magic and science. The ancient Druids knew the power of words and of the wordsmith. Language was the means by which one adept passed on the details of the magical canon. When we remember the debt we owe to Homer, Shakespeare, Cervantes, Bronte, and other great writers, let us also remember the debt they owed to words and letters. Although the poet may be prince, the word is emperor. This is from Arthur Dew's The Christ Myth. Among the ideas which were borrowed by Judaism from the Persian religion belonged those connected with the mediatory word. As the creative power of the Godhead upon earth, the expression, the Word, had already appeared in aphoristic literature. Under Greco-Egyptian influence, the term wisdom, Sophia, had become a naturalized expression for it. Nowadays, words have largely lost their magical qualities. Certainly not their power. That's me adding in there. The shallowness of today's swing language mirrors the shallowness and artificiality of human thought and lifestyle. At least this is the case for unawakened human beings. It is certainly not the case for the rulers of mankind, the overlords who can't afford to forget the power of the words they so artfully employ. It is by the way of the magical power of words that their cruel hegemonies are gained and maintained. The Hitlers of our world are orators first and foremost, even though the words they speak may be composed by more shadowy string pullers. By gaining control over words, they win control over mind and world. A little note there, it was Joseph Goebbels that did all of Hitler's writing for him. Literacy in the ancient world was mastered by a very small part of any given society. Small farmers and shepherds had no use for writing, nor did the local patrons and strongmen who typically controlled the small patronates. Imperial governments, however, did have use for it. That's from Thomas L. Thompson, The Mythic Past, Biblical Archaeology and the Myth of Israel. Monogenesis. From 7,000 to 10,000 years before Christ, there lived a people in that region, which, as the bees send off in the spring their successive swarms, poured out its streams of immigration all over Europe and into India, Bactria, Media, and Persia. When I see Bactria and Media, I see bacteria and media. Yeah, like a virus indeed. Excuse me. Now they sent this everywhere concerning the indigenous races and becoming the Celts of Spain, Britain and Ireland, the Northmen of Sweden, Norway and Denmark, the ancient Goths and modern Germans, the Slavic and Lithuanian races, the Greeks and Romans, the Hindus and the Medians and Persians. You'll hardly utter a sentence of our English tongue without speaking some word which was spoken in the same sense by that ancient people 10,000 years ago or more. Albert Pike on Lectures of the Arya. Just to correct one mistake he made there, this came from the west, not from the direction he's surmising. Madame Helena Petrovna Blavatsky puts us right about the age-old fallacies concerning the Jews and their language. She rightly emphasizes that the Hebrew language was originally Egyptian, and that comes out of Hebrides. That's Irish Celt. The compilers of the Old Testament, as it exists in the Hebrew canon, know well that the language of the initiates in the days of Moses was identical with that of the Egyptian hierophants. In her monumentally important work on astrotheology, The Celestial Ship of the North, Mrs. Valencia Straighten corroborates Blavatsky's findings. The Jewish glyph and the Hebrew language are not original, but are borrowed from the Egyptian and are considered sacred. Hebrew is composed of the hieroglyphics, symbols, and myths of the Egyptians and their gods. And again, that came out of the Druids, out of the Celts. The same goes for the so-called Hebrew Kabbalah and other supposedly Jewish traditions. The Hebrew Kabbalah, revelation of the Mosaic teaching, comes from Egypt and retains a kinship with this origin, although modified by the nature of the Jewish mission. And that's R.A. Schwaller de Lubitsch, Esotericism and Symbol. In their excellent book entitled Civilization 1, The World is Not As You Thought It Was, Alan Butler and Christopher Knight consider the possibility of the parent language from which the majority of others may have descended. In the 18th century, the German philosopher Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz suggested that all ancient and modern languages diverged from proto-language. Of course it did. This idea, called monogenesis, sounds very odd, but it is taken very seriously by many leading scholars. Anthropologist and writer Richard Rudgley has said the consequences of acknowledging a root language are mind-boggling. Such a language must be more than 10,000 years old and probably nearer to 15,000 years old. It is amazing that correspondences in language exist as far afield as the deserts of southern Africa, the Amazon rainforest, the Arctic, and Europe. Linguist and writer Merritt Rulin has called the ancient original language proto-global. Academics as revered as Colin Renfrew, Disney professor of archaeology at the University of Cambridge, have concluded that every group of humans in the world once spoke the same language, and that the date of this convergence was as recent as 15,000 years ago. These excerpts follow the patterns of words that are shared by peoples who have no known connection, yet they stop short of asking how such a thing can be true. Surely, if everyone spoke the same language, there must have been a high level of regular contact between peoples around the world, at a time when, in the modern comprehension of prehistory, this would have been impossible. But then, when you erase everything from 6000 BC back, yeah, that would be hard to miss. The holy art of deception. Deception is a holy art. This is because everything we commonly consider holy exists because of deliberate age-old deception. We cannot emphasize enough the manner in which words, terms, titles, and place names have been abused by royal and religious oligarchs and their scions. The Christian Bible, for example, is replete with this form of deception. Readers and believers accept the innumerable personal names, place names literally, and rigidly resist any opinion or argument that contradicts the officially accepted translation and interpretation of said document. Nevertheless, the greatest antiquarians and historians, great because of their lack of bias, knew there was more to biblical allusions than most laymen suspect. As Samuel F. Dunlop explains, as in certain amusements, persons were expected to guess a word or story from slight indications half concealed in the conversation, the Semitic author of Genesis has left scarcely any traces by which to connect his narrative with the mysteries, and yet this method has been selected to introduce the readers of Scripture to the history of the chosen people. That's from the Gebers of Hebron. How many of us realize that the letters such as L, H, and even I served as prefixes in a similar manner as today's common word, the? How many of us realize that according to one scholarly source, the word Jew derives from Ada, or alternatively iota? Isn't that interesting? Iota. Yeah. The English letter T was often interchangeable with J. There are many instances of this transposition, and the word Jew is one of them. Iota becomes Jada or Yada, or Jew, In Volume 1, we show that the origin of the word Jew, Iuda or Jew, derives from the yew tree and its symbolism. And Mike Tessarian does a great job going through the history of the yew tree, amongst many other things as well. The word Audi or Ada was one of the original derivations of the modern appellation Jew or Judah. It signified a location and also more specifically the caste of elders known commonly as the Druids. How many of us realize the importance of geographical location? What happens to a place name after it is adopted by a particular clan simply to identify themselves as residents of a certain geographical region? What if that same region was first given its name by a forgotten antique race with no connection to the later settlers who adopted the name as their own? A person or tribe might, for example, define themselves as Egyptian because they have lived in the land of Egypt for a generation or more. Are we to assume they are as Egyptian as the forgotten people who first inhabited the land thousands of years previously and who gave Egypt its name? Of course not. Take the land of England, for example. That name was given to the land by the Anglo-Saxon invaders in the 5th and 6th centuries A.D. It signified their land, the land of their people, not the land of those who were resident there before or those who would be resident after their time. However, since the days of the Angles and Saxons, every settler and immigrant in England blithely refers to themselves as English, or at least as residents of England. Does this mean they too are Angles, Jutes, or Saxons for Western Europe? Of course not. It does not even signify that their ancestors were Angles, Jutes, or Saxons. It is just a term that has been adopted for descriptive purposes. Consider that an ego imprint on your nice white canvas, convincing you are something that even your parents had no idea what the fuck they were talking about. Anyway, back to the book or the piece here. What we are describing is a situation with the terms Jew and Judite. These terms are once associated with a physical location. Specifically, Judah or Judea defined the region occupied by the wise ones, or magi, the Western elders who had colleges the world over. Whether the word originally denoted yew trees, rivers, fire, hierophants, or initiated ones, it does not signify the people who adopted it as a title later in history, due to the fact that their ancestors may have inhabited a location bearing the illustrious name. For an example, if you lived in, let's say, 1,000 years from now, you lived in Cambridge, England, or the University of Oxford, whatever, and you consider yourself a Cambridge being, does that mean that you understand all of the history that was there before you got there? Again, this is adopting a title without earning it, basically. That's why all titles are fallacies. The roots were there long before, and people take it upon themselves. I thought it was a great example. Someone who would call themselves English, for example, well, are you Anglo, Saxon? What are you? Well, I'm English. I said, yeah, but that doesn't tell me that you know about your history. The only history you know about is the one that got rammed down your throats in the schools. I know, I went to UK schools. I had all the English history rammed down my throat. All the infighting of the royals. They love to talk about how they love to murder each other, and that's why Princess Diana got wiped out. I don't know why the fucking world was shocked. The royals have been murdering each other for centuries. It's crazy. Anyway, one primary reason why problems of association and correct attribution arose is due to the deceptive historians such as Josephus Piso, there's that Piso name again, who funded, no kidding, and directed by powerful, shadowy aristocratic elites, worked to deliberately skew facts and misguide researchers of later generations. That's called Marketing 101. So here we go. Titus Flavius Josephus, 37 to 100 AD, or Yosef ben Mattiyahu. Almost sounds like Nutty Yahoo, doesn't it? Yeah. Actually looks like him too. Was an aristocratic Jewish historian living in Rome. In an attempt to conceal the actual history of the Jews, Josephus wrote that, in his opinion, they were descendants of Indian Brahmins. See the life of Flavius Josephus. Josephus was undoubtedly funded and directed by Attalus, that is, by the powerful descendants of the order of Melchizedek or Akhenaten. These shadowy elites were members of the Geonim, or the princes of light. In traditionally accepted terms, they were Sadducees and Pharisees of the highest order. Yeah, seducers and parasites of the highest order. To this day, their patronized lackeys concoct histories designed to deliberately conceal the facts we need to know about our past. Researcher and author Ralph Ellis has conclusively proven that Josephus and St. Paul, author of the epistles and so-called biographer of Jesus, were one and the same man. So there you go. There's a whole lot more here. Actually, I do want to get this last little bit, because this is where we get into the Aryans and the Britons. This peculiar liability of men to be deceived by words and names when they are presented in disguised and abbreviated or unfamiliar forms of spelling has been taken full advantage of by the obscurists, who have in some ways secreted and in other ways suppressed the history of the past ages. But guys, you've got a Coptic key to figure this out. You get to the proto-language with phonics, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're uncovering the proto-language, the one language that we all spoke. Funny how that works. And that's from Conor McDarry, The Bible, an Irish Book. Okay, as we have shown throughout the Irish origins of civilization, the mythmongers have worked hard to prevent the facts concerning the Western Arya from being widely known. They have deliberately and expertly manipulated names, titles, and words to ensure the secret of their own religious roots never come to light. Their flagrant abuse of terms and words is but one more crime to be added to the catalogue of their violence. Fortunately, when it comes to words, we find that it is mostly vowels that interchange. For the most part, consonants remain as they are. There's that vowel thing again. Moreover, ancient written languages such as Greek, Egyptian, and Hebrew did not use vowels. In short, words, personal names, and place names often preserve fascinating information about the world we live in. They are especially revealing when it comes to the world of the past. Of course, many place names and words have been deliberately altered. Because of this desecration, they are bound to be misinterpreted. For instance, the ancient name of India was Bharat. This was the name of an ancient goddess who was worshipped the world over. Another important goddess was known as Anna. When the two goddess names are combined, we have Bharatana. This is where the name of Britain originated. In fact, the symbol of Bharatana sitting on a throne with a shield bearing the Union Jack is a familiar emblem for Britain. Bharatana, the word, is equivalent to others such as Brit, Brute, Parat. There's that parrot again. Anyway, Prat, Bharat, etc. Speaking of the Ari or Aryans, we find this root and its derivatives in place names such as Saqqara, Benares, and Lohara. In Eastern lands, the true meaning of these roots is well known. Easterners know they refer to the great Western civilizers and their priesthood. Informed Easterners know that these ancient Westerners were visitors and not invaders, as duplicitous historians have long insisted. Words such as Galilee, Bengal, Golan, Samaria, Jordan, Samaria, Sahara, Bulgaria, Gadara, Arabia, Armenia, Amarna, Iran, Karachi, Kandahar, Kaspari, Kashmir, Syria, Malawi, Tyre, Tarim, Bara, that's in Scotland, Bharat, India, and Batum in Georgia feature Western roots. Benares and Bengal, for instance, bear the root Ben, meaning hill or high place. Benares, therefore, means hill of the Arya. Bengal means hill of the Gauls. The word Gaul indicates the Gaels, which probably refers to Irish and Nordic migrants. And by the way, the lead lady in this movie branded her name as Abigail. Yeah. The Gaels brought their skills, teachings, and ways to the eastern lands. Oh, sorry, missed a line there. The word Gaul indicates the Gaels, which probably refers to Irish and Nordic migrants, or later Scythian tribes. There's that scythe, okay, that cuts through the shit, who made their way from Europe into Pakistan and India. The Gaels brought their skills, teachings, and ways to the eastern lands. They specialized in languages. The Irish legends mention the network of Scythian colleges and mystery schools that stretched from Europe to the east. The masters of these colleges, the great adepts, were regarded as demigods. The Gaels, Milesians and Scythians, etc., were not the first Westerners to traverse the east. Long before their time, the megalithic Irish had already visited India and Egypt. The Druids influenced the ancient Egyptian Amunists and had lived on the Nile and in the Indus Valley region for over 10,000 years before the Christian era. Skeptics who can't accept this fact know precious little about ancient history. They have accepted the unsustainable lies taught to them in schools and colleges. They accepted in the Victorian age before the Crimean War of 1853. Funny how Crimea is coming back into view, eh? Russian intelligence officers and troops could make their way on horseback into Pakistan and India. But ironically, they think it preposterous that Vikings from Sweden and Norway, who had once conquered Russia all the way to southern Volga and Black and Caspian Seas, could also manage to make their way further east. Really? You don't think if they go that far, they wouldn't go a little further? Anyway, so it goes on for quite a bit here, but I just wanted to share a bit of that with you guys tonight to show you the importance of etymology and why we need to really stay focused on the phonics. Speaking of purple, you are the purple people. Get your aha moments, because every aha moment adds to your DNA, and that's more of your bridge that's going to lead you to even more and faster and faster. This is where you become weightless, and you will weight less. I promise you that. So anyway, let's get these lines open. I might run over a little bit tonight. Just depends on how we go here, but I just wanted to share that with everybody. Want to join the Emerald Table? Okay, I can accept you there, Pete. And the easiest way is to call in, but what I'll do with you right now, seeing as I'm feeling a little bit warm and fuzzy. Here, I'll bring you in. I don't normally do this. But there you go. Pete, I just brought you with me. I hope you've got a headset. And let's get these lines open. Guys, you can call in at 661-467-2401. And, of course, you can Skype in from the Blog Talk page you're listening on. And once you get on the board, all you have to do is hit 1 on your dial pad and open up the dial pad on Skype and hit 1 there. That lets me know that you want in here. And we'll get you guys on the table. So I just want to check to see if Pete's here. Are you there?
Hi, Kate. How are you doing?
Good. Hang on. I'm just going to get some lines open here, and then we'll get everybody kicking here. Hey, Data Week, you haven't heard from you in a while, buddy. And I think this might be Barb. Hopefully it's quiet on your end. Let me just see. Maybe not. All the ones.
Hello. Am I connected, Kate? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. Now, one at a time. I got Data Week. You're there, yes?
Yes, I am.
There you are. I got Pete, yeah?
Yeah, Kate.
Okay, who's on the other line that's open? Because it came in as 11111, all the ones. I have no idea who it is. Okay, whoever put their hand up, I can see you, Richie. Hang on, I know that's you. So I just want to see who this is first before we go on. I just want to make sure I got everybody in here. So who hasn't spoken yet that put their hand up? Okay. All right. Well, I guess we'll just mute it back out then. All right. That solves that. Okay. I'll get Richie in here. All right. Pete and Data Wiggy. Pete, you got in first. So what's on your mind? This is your first time in at the table here. So what's going on with you?
Just listening, Kate. I was listening to last night's show, actually, so I wanted to contact you just to get in on the table because it's such a fascinating table and it's such a fascinating time we're living in, you know. So I just rather listen for a while because I haven't been listening to the live show and then maybe comment a bit later on, if that's okay.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You're God. Everything's okay. It's all good.
Cool.
All good.
You're the first person to call me that, Kate.
Well, I won't, hopefully now it won't be the last because you're amongst gods here. So there we go.
No, I tell my son that now, so I'm fully on board with the notion, or the truth, let's say.
So how's home turf, by the way? I miss home.
Do you? It's great. I'm in the West Coast, where Ennis and Clare is. Well, it's tough times, but there's a big light waiting to shine on us all, so.
Oh yeah, we're kicking at this door. It's bleeding daylight, and this system cannot withstand the pressure. And based on some of the antics it's up to, it's getting to be beyond funny now. It really is.
It is.
So it's good to have you at the table, and there's all of Ireland together. What are the odds of this wanker means getting buried in Northern Ireland? I mean, there's the blight. There's the blight of. I've talked about the heart of Gaia being Ireland, the 4 chambers, 4 provinces, and of course Ulster, Northern Ireland, whatever, right? And that's where this monkey's left his carcass. So I think what we need to do is find that carcass and ship it the hell out. What do you think? Him and his Narmer's palate. Would work for me.
He was buried in Northern Ireland, huh?
Yeah, well, there's 2 tombs, and of course, one in Abydos, and that's, like I said, that character. The one of the characters in that 4-book series was Abaddon. So it all ties together. So it's quite funny.
Yeah, it does. But you know what, too, Kate? It's kind of like, how if we flip, it's like what we thought was right is wrong, and what we thought was wrong was right. I mean, maybe this guy was onto something, Not, I mean, like you say, people seem to twist and turn things in a way that causes our comprehension and allegiance
I don't know.
to something.
A Steely that has somebody ready. Yeah, a Steely that has somebody ready to clobber someone over the head doesn't strike me as a benevolent golden age type being,
Well, when I saw that,
by one's actions, one is known. I want to get Data Wiggy in here too before it turns into just on me again. Okay. So, we got to get everybody in here. But.
Hello.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm the one that got sued by the bank and sent them condoms. So,
that was beautiful, man. I loved it.
And of course they will win the case, and I will send them more condoms.
Absolutely.
And they will.
Why don't you tell everybody that story? This is funny. This is exactly the shit I love to pull because it's fun.
Yeah, I borrowed money from the bank, and then I had enough of paying them, and I stopped paying. And it went to the debt collector, and I fucked them. I sent some papers to them that I printed out from Kate's site, and then they got crazy and sued me. And
that really like that really matters. See, and what you've done there, shown your spiritual intent in such a beautiful way. What he has shared is he's very politely saying, "Go fuck yourself, but do it safely."
Yeah, use condoms in the act.
Use condoms, right? Go find someone else.
And then they will of course win. And then I will send more condoms, and merry goes around. It goes to the debt collector again, and fuck you. And I have another case that an old
case of condoms, I hope. Anyway, go ahead.
The old what's it called? Well, I lived in an apartment, and I only paid half of the rent because the other guy when I left, the other guy moved in early, so I paid half the rent. And then they want the rest of this rent because I didn't pay. They went directly to the debt collector, and I made that woman at that working there made spin like hell. So she went to the court, and of course they won. And then I sent some emails no, it's fraud, and some of these documents are from Kate. And they went to court again and won again, and this time I changed the judgment to what some bogus bullshit and used Kate's latest cover letter and sent to them, because they wanted money. And that time I didn't use a condom, but I haven't heard from them since then. And then I found another letter from the court. So I printed out this letter again, taped a condom on this. That's a picture of it on Kate's feed, and it's a legal document I just compiled and the paperwork and sent back in the same envelope. I always use the same envelope. They send me stuff and I just return to sender. So yeah, see what happens there.
Yeah, it's amazing. You don't even have to pay for postage. Just crack the thing open, then tape it and hit return to sender on it.
Yeah. I even printed out a paper with lines of return to sender. So I just cut one line and tape it on and put it in the post box. Yeah.
So it doesn't cost you anything to send their garbage back, right? And the intention, remember, when you send something, it's the intention that's going. Something mailed is already deemed contract. So when you send out information, you're actually putting them into spirit contracts. And all they got to do is open the email or open the letter, and it's already delivered. The simple fact that you send it to an email, they've already contracted spiritually saying that you can reach me this way and that I will accept all emails. I will accept, if I have a mailbox, then I accept all mail. That's the big catch with mailboxes. And they're called mailboxes for a reason. It's all about intention. And let's go back to the 1870s, I believe, 1875, or it might be 1890s. But anyway, the gist of it goes like this, that anything sent through the mail is already deemed contract upon sending, not receiving. Because there is assumption and presumption that if you have an address in a mailbox, you are open to receive all things. So a mailbox is a universal binding contract. And you'll see, like especially in North America, you have these post boxes that they're not on the houses anymore, and that is the allegory of the power of removing the mailboxes from your property. So, and it also creates a stronger spiritual contract for those that leave their homes to go and open these boxes up to get the mail, right? So there's physical effort. So in that it works against the system and also works for them at the same time. It just depends on your perspective from a spiritual contract perspective. And we have Alvita is in here, and Lori, I'm not sure, 425, or is that Mina?
Yes, it is. Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I am great, thank you.
Yeah, you like testing me by not calling in for a while to see if I remember who it is,
Yep, how do you know?
I just trusted my intuitive, and that's what hit me. Oh wait, that's Mina. Okay, I got it.
It's an interesting show today.
Well, I like to think it's that every day, but then that would be arrogant. Yeah, we have our good days and bad days here, I'm sure, like everywhere else. Not quite as ranty tonight. And there's Alvita in the background. I hear you, baby.
Yes, I'm back here dancing along. I'm always stay dancing. That way I stay in a good mood long as I'm dancing, you know?
Oh, yeah. And I really, just to close up that whole King Means thing, I'm going to go to the character in Interstate 60. Mr. Cody, Mr. Code of Consciousness, Code E, right? Mr. MR means son of the coat of consciousness. What was his line? Say what you mean and mean what you say. That is, average out the word to neutralize it. Find its polarity of positive and negative. It's like what Richie was saying there. God is good and evil. We are capable of good and evil. What changes that is our choice to be what we want to be. That's the difference. So, again, I'm looking at it from the cosmic joke side of things. So I'm not going to get into real literals on it. Again, these are just literal examples that I'm trying to use to expose more and more of the allegoric anagogic side of things, the magic, if you will. That's all.
Kate, who do you think is writing all these scripts?
What's that, Pete?
Who do you think is writing all these scripts?
Oh,
is there
you, me, all of us.
Force out there? Yeah, I mean, in terms of all the Hollywood movies that we get all these clues from, do you think there's a good force out there wanting us to wake up and wanting us to decode their encoded literature?
Well, here's the thing. Here we're playing the game of we're God playing the game of not being God, right? And the only way we can do that is to lower our sense of all knowing at levels of awareness. You already know all things. That's what Aquarius teaches us, right? We know all things. What are we aware of, right? What you are aware of now versus 10 years ago, I would hazard to say, is slightly different. You might have a different view of the world than you had with those rose-colored glasses on 10 years ago or 15, 20 years ago.
3 months ago, Kate, since I started listening to you, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. So your level of awareness of your knowing, you're becoming more aware of what you know, and when you feel it, that's the trick. You have to feel it. The thinking, that's for the left brainers. Yeah, I can play the thinking game all day long. Boring.
Well, yeah. I mean, in my reality, I mean, I'm controversial kind of figure as well, and of course, we all at the table here have our own troubles with people and interacting with people in terms of the stuff that we know and they will not accept. So, of course, that brings its difficulties in life. But what I wanted to ask you as well is, I'm not getting literal because it is allegorical, but in terms of something, big events like, say, 9/11, I've come to realize that was, in a literal sense, it didn't happen as we all were led to believe it happened. In terms of it was kind of a fakery extravaganza. You know, we were fed fake video. There were no real victims, or at least very few real victims. It's been proven that lots of them are fake victims, as they're called. So I'm wondering, I mean, does that factor into your...
Yeah, absolutely. You see, what we're dealing with there again there are people today that still buy the official story, that still take it as some crazy, Muslim terrorists that got a couple of planes and managed to penetrate the world's most supposed protective radar and all the rest of it. There are still people that actually believe that. So that level of awareness you'll probably find in the Bible Belt in the Midwest, okay, where they're, praising praise Jesus, pass the ammunition to our Republican presidents and what have you, okay? And then you have people like us that go, well, further on than just... For me, it was about why. What was the symbology behind it? What was the spiritual intent? And Santo covered that a while back, talking about the buildings, the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
The cornerstone was laid when Saturn was in Gemini. The doors were open when Saturn was in Gemini, and the building was taken down. The buildings were taken down when Saturn was briefly in Gemini. They had a very small window there to do it. But that's exactly it. Now, when you see the twins, they were called the brothers, so there's your Castor, Pollux, Gemini. What that is an allegory for me of was the dark aspect trying to destroy the spirit. And they represented that with the quiet takedown of Building 7, or God, if you will. Okay, so this all plays out allegorically. So I don't get distracted in all of they're just thoughts to me. The mayhem and all the rest of the drama that gets attached to it that people buy into, there's still people talking about 9/11 conspiracy. Here's a little bit of news update for everybody.
I don't even believe the unofficial story.
Well, yeah, here's the update for everybody. This is the official update from Kate. The buildings fucking came down. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Kate, the two pillars of Hercules.
And the thing is, Kate, it was all a movie.
Oh yeah, it was all a movie. It was all set up. I mean, it was drama of drama. And you see, for me, there are spiritual referees here, right? This is we're playing a game with ourselves with failsafe, okay, guys? And we got in order to have that thrill, that rush, we have to go to the extreme sides of physical fear to get that. And when you get bored with that, you move past it. And you go, oh, okay, I get it. I'm an immortal being. I get it. Okay, me, whatever. I'm still infinite. Who cares? And we're working our way back through the immortality aspect, where those that are still caught up in the literal want to be the legal name, want to be the fiction, want to buy the bullshit. And that's the name of the ad firm, BS, by the way, in branded. Yeah, BS. Blue B, red S. Isn't that funny? So I just moved past all of the dramas because I can get caught in literal conversations for hours with people talking about literal stuff. And it's just a litter of the mind. It's all litter to me.
But taking it allegorically, Kate, I mean, 9 to 11. I mean, 9, and I know the significance of 11 or 22, as you call it, the quad. What does that mean to you? 9. I think 9/11 was particularly chosen because it was to allow us to kind of evolve, to come to realize.
Oh, yeah. 9/11 is consciousness of duality. That's all it is to me. 9/11. 9 is consciousness. The expanding spiral out, where the 6 is the hex spiraling in. The physical is the 6, the hex. And the 9 is the infinite I and infinite consciousness, N-I-N-E, right? E is the 9 in the mirror. Lowercase e is a 9. So that's how I see shapes and form. I'm not caught in the spells, if you will. Okay, so the hard part for me is to explain this literally, because what I talk about, I know, is it can be very titillating for the left brain, and figuring this and figuring that. You've got to get away from that, and you have to spend the time to do that. You really do.
Well, I think it's intricately involved in this process we're going through, and hopefully very soon that it will become perfectly clear that we are in the midst of something absolutely fantastical, you know.
It is.
But I think that was the kind of a turning point for so many people, you know, and I think it was purposely designed that way, you know. So
it's the grand illusion.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And I've come to realize that there's 3 stages to 9/11 sort of realization. The first is the fear, of course. You get wrapped up in the literal. The second, then, once you get beyond the ragheads crashing planes and you get into the government did it, all this sort of bullshit, that's the sort of anger stage. And then when you come to the stage that I think that I'm at, I have been at this for quite a long time, that it's all a movie we watch, no one died, the buildings were taken down in private, then you come to the realization stage or the relief stage, you know, and that has taken me on to what I think now is just the final point. You're my final sort of you're my final connection to the old reality, you know, and I know that we're moving on and up and back to a state of pure knowledge and pure love and pure realization, you know.
The Druids are back, my friend. That's the truth.
Last summer.
We never left, Kate.
I know, isn't it funny? You know, like I said, 101st Spiritual Airborne, I got dropped behind enemy lines in Belfast, right, in Ulster, right in Northern Ireland, so I guess my path was already set. And, of course, you know, living in Guelph or Guelph, it's just crazy. But the Druids are back. That's the true itself. That's the Trinity in the one, where the thought is the child. Horus is the thought, the child. And you are the mother and the father of all thought. You see, the father is the heart, the fa, which is the heart note, and you have theos. Well, let's go letter by letter. Fa, all right. That's the fourth, it's the first in the original medieval Celtic scale, first note, which is the heart. It starts at the heart note. And then you have T, which is Phoenician, the circle with the X in it. The capital L T is the note of love, or the law of truth, lave. So we have H, which again is the Trinity in the lowercase and the uppercase. It's also the Greek letter Ita, which is the truth between the E and the A, which is the 9 and the 6. You see, 6-9 is actually backwards. It should be 9-6. Okay. Then we have the E, which is consciousness, and R, spirit breath. So what we have with Father, and I'm going slowly on this, guys. Hopefully I'm going slow enough. We have Fa, T-H-E-R, which translates to this sentence for me. In the heart note of the law of truth, in the trinity of self, of consciousness, through spirit breath. No one gets to the Father but through magnetic electric Mother. Mother is the modus operandi. So Mother would actually be more the intent versus the actual creation, because everything is created in the neutral heart. You see, Father and Mother are not male or female. They are completely neutral. They're just energies. So Mother is simply modus operandi, M-O, of the law of truth in the Trinity into consciousness through spirit breath. So that's the magnetic electric, the Mother Magdalene, right? And everything has been taught backwards. And like I said, the Druids are back. Here we are. And that's what this table is all about. I'm not buying any of the physical bullshit anymore.
You mentioned Mother
Kate,
there.
Kate, I just want to say she's nailed that. When you begin to see, right, with your ears, is you nailed that perfect. You gotta take the pussies and the dicks out of it, guys, to see this. Okay, you cannot be polarized any longer in the sex aspect. That is the physical. I deal only in energetics, and when you put the plus and the minus together, there's your little 6-pointed star. What the Phoenician does, the phonics, the sound letters, is it gives you the 8-pointed Coptic key, and it's all contained in there. A neat little trick that you can play, and you'll start seeing the words unfold before you. Just take the G, replace it with a K. Take the D, replace it with a T. And P with the R, which is the original sound of Rho, the Greek letter. So you're dispelling the shape by doing this. And when you do that, you start seeing, ego, which is consciousness hexed in creation, EGO, right? Now we put the K in there. Then that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with ripples, echoes, which is the consciousness of spirit in creation, like Mark Twain. And Twain is another derivative for mirror. Mark is X is horse, right? There's your 10. So that's life, chi or key. So it all starts to unfold, and it doesn't take a lot to do this. Merely sitting down for, a day and just even at work or whatever, get your doodle pad out and just pick a handful of words and start changing up the G, P, and the D for the K, R, and the T. And if you have trouble remembering that, it's just my initials. Just a coincidence. I got to tell you,
I'd like to tell a story of my dream and how I broke it down with the words and reframe the whole thing.
Okay.
Okay. I had a dream the other night where I'm going to just explain a little bit of the dream and then the analogy and then the anagogic space.
Okay.
So
all right.
I had an old boyfriend, one of my original boyfriends when I was a teenager, had abducted me and basically, and I've got written down here, this is what I wrote down when I woke up. He was trying to fuck me over in the head. He was a real mind fuck sort of guy. And we were driving around in the car, and I knew he was trying to hurt me. I felt threatened. And when I got out of the car, it's like I had to escape out of the car, and my sister was there and was trying to, help me. And I'm a bit, I'm nervous he could come back. And I said to her, I'm pretty sure he drugged me. And then she goes, go on, we'll go to the hospital and see if you're being drugged. And I get to the hospital and I go, no, I don't think he did. I'm not sure. Am I making this up? And they do this test and he did drug you. And then I'm gone off to some resort, like a timeshare thing, waiting, hoping he's not going to come back for me, waiting for this lift. There's all these other bits in there, but I'll just do the main thing. And as I'm there, my sister had gone and gotten my mum and my other sister to fly up from Sydney and come. And as my mum comes up to me, I realise she goes, oh, and she just hugged me. And I woke up crying. I was hugging her, crying and crying with the hurt of having been abducted. And I look at that without the other little bits and pieces in it. I look at the masculine fear. Abducted was the word that I'm breaking down, or abduct.
hurt, and then the absolute illusion of, was I drugged or wasn't I drugged? And the way I put it, I thought about it, it's like being the dreamer. I was in a dream, and I was dreaming the dream, and I was waking up. I knew, a part of me knew I was drugged, but was it really? And then the feminine compassion, the mother figure coming in and letting me grieve over the hurt of what I felt. So I thought, okay, what does this mean? So I thought the word that stood out is abduct. So I look at the word, and I go, ab, for me, ab as a prefix is not, and then duct. So I go, okay, change it to the T. So this could be either not or it could be for. So I go, not T, truth of the electric U, electric K, being spirit. And then I go, okay, now hold on, let's take ab as a word. So I'm going to go take it as the magnetic electric, B as the spiritual warrior. So I go, okay, let's look magnetic electric because it's a masculine and feminine theme. If I neutralize and become both and balanced, I can be the neutral spiritual warrior of the truth of spirit. And then I go, that's when I get it. That's with that intention. The dream was showing me where I was not that, and I was the dreamer within the dream waking up, or I could wake up and be the balanced, neutral, spiritual warrior of truth. And then today, I go into the main cards, and I picked the card Dreamer and Dreamed to reinforce it.
As soon as you said that, the Dreamer and the Dreamed from the Mayan oracles, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
do you want me
cannot
to read
make
that?
mistakes. Yeah, would you? That'd be great. And I really want to reinforce this, guys. Just let everyone know we got 6 minutes till rollover. Not sure how far over the rollover I'll go. But anyway, if you want to call in, it's 661-467-2401. And, of course, you can Skype in through the blog talk. Great big thank you to Paul Giovanni, Ninja, the crew at criticalmassradio.co.uk, and, of course, all you guys that help keep this table going. And I'm part of that, too, and I'm very happy to be able to say that and sit at the table like everyone else. This is the round table here, completely level. And everything we do together to keep it here is exactly why it is and why it will be. So great big hats off to everyone. Thank you for that. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, the qualities are destiny, personal dream, synchronicity, mosaic meaning, the larger dream. Your personal dream is unfolding. You are the dreamer revealing the dream. Be present, be aware. Remember that you are the ancient sage who carries the wisdom of lifetimes into this moment, and that this dream offers you the opportunity to merge all that you have been and may become. Time and space are folding. Stop and feel the interweaving of threads in the new dream. Be aware of potent dreams, chance meetings, catalytic books, and unusual encounters. As you recognize these threads from the larger dream, an exciting tapestry of meaning and purpose emerges. The dreamer is awakening. Destiny is dawning. See how your past has brought you to the present and how the present catapults you into the future. Watch for strong feelings and intuitive knowings, patterns, images, colours, sounds and sensations. Bring the mythic expression of yourself into the dream of your daily life. Free yourself from the way you normally view the world. You are the dreamer and the dreamed. In the collective dream field, all things are possible and are constantly being created. By choosing to become a conscious dreamer, you are helping to create the new reality of the larger dream, the greater reality unfolding.
A perfect description of the merging timelines. You know, Interstate 60 is a great example of that, where two paths that Neil could have taken, he got to see the one that was leading him to destruction, and he got to witness another timeline of himself in his car, the red Beamer with the white paint on the trunk, just like the one he'd just thrown over. It was his car in a different timeline he got to witness. And based on the choices that he had made, if he had decided to go along with his dad, that's what he would have ended up as. So this is the power of choice. And, you know, you will see clues of these timelines merging. There'll be instances of deja vu. There'll be that's all the realities. Remember this, guys. This is so easy to say and so difficult to grasp. This is why there is only this moment of now. You're conscious now. Because every reality, every possibility ever imagined in all infinite realities exists right now. Our thoughts are what pull us into those realities, and our thoughts are what pull us out. This is why you've got to get a grip on your mind, on the emotions to get a grip on your mind. The wife must be subservient to the husband, which means, not literally, for all you religious, kosas, chosenitis fucks that like to beat women, it means that the emotions must be subservient to the mind. And only in the state of neutral can you create. In fact, if you are happy or sad or angry or I love you, an infatuation lesson, all of this shit will keep you from it. That I promise you. And by the way, I just did a spread while you were talking there. I can shuffle and deal out while I'm listening, but you nailed it. That's a perfect description of the timelines merging. Opening card, 13, Death, which is change, and the final card was 7, the Chariot, absolute victory. So this is what we're dealing with, guys, and this is why these seeds that I speak of so often that you need to plant. Just plant the seed. Just plant the kangaroo in someone's mind of truth, benevolent law of truth, and walk away. You don't need to be the system is full of salesmen. It's full of marketing execs, okay? You don't need to be that. You just simply need to toss something at someone to give them a little doubt in their worship of the system. It's like in the movie Pompeii that Joe was talking about. You know, here's a guy thinking he's going to get let go, but they're going to change the rules every time. So we got 90 seconds before we roll over here, guys. I've got one more line I'm going to open up just to get you in. Is that Barbara?
Yes, it is.
There you are.
But I'm limited. Yes, all right.
Yeah. No problem. Well, you want to say hi while it's a bit quiet around you, or do you want me to mute you out?
Mute me out.
Okay, hon. Okay, I know you're there. Big love to you, so I'll mute you out. And we have... Alvida's back. Good. I was kind of hoping she'd get back. Her line just dropped. So Alvida's back. And we have 661. I have a funny feeling this might be Kevin.
Hello, Kate.
Funny that, eh? You have such loud thoughts.
Hey, you're quite as loud too, yeah? I've been having so much fun. I've been sort of surfing behind you, holding on to a bit of rope, doing free things, tricks in the air. Now, I'll just give you a few examples first. It was, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. You could go back through the shows and say, so I'm playing with words, but I'm changing every letter to every letter and trying to work out. Next day, I put the show on because I've been listening to you in the day. My girlfriend loves it because she comes home and I tidy the house up listening to you, and I get my downloads. That's how I silence my mind, by the way. And I think that's a very good way for people to understand that. You don't have to sit and sort of go, get your hands busy, paint something, create something. And that's a really good way of silencing your mind. So,
do the day.
And so there I am, like playing with words. It's getting a bit complicated. Then I listen to your show, and it's like, all you've got to do is change the vowels. And I'm like, well, that's simple. I know that. They say, hey, I owe you some money. That's how I learned my vowels. So everything starts to happen really good. Then I'm thinking the next day, what's wrong with the people on the show? They call themselves gods and, Taurus fields, and that's nice. Why don't they phone in, Kate? Come on, everybody. There's a lot of people that listen to this show, and Kate is giving you a chance to put your voice out over the air. Jump at it. And not only that, I would say your family then, you can say, hey, listen to me on the radio. Oh, yeah, there's a seed planted for them. And then you can explain what the show's about, but it will bite. So I would like to see a lot more people phoning in, Kate. Yes, as you know, I hate the system more than anything else in the world, and I feel trapped. But at the moment, I do things in one jump. So
I do have to agree with you. If you get talking on the air, apparently that makes you a little bit of a celebrity. I never figured that out, but apparently it does. So
I agree.
Have that or have some fun with it. You know.
Everybody call in.
Well, yeah, be a celebrity.
We'll get a million people to call in.
Oh yeah, I tell you, I've only got room for 50. Okay, so that one fills up right quick. But yeah, typically I know our numbers are messed with, but they've let the veils down a couple of times when they weren't, in the 750,000 range and what have you. So yeah, again. The last show that the system wants up front, up close and personal, just like the Judge Bows to Sovereign video, is truth. Mm-hmm. But it's getting out there. It doesn't matter. This is where we all take our piece of the puzzle, and it's as simple as planting seeds. Go right back to the did you know you're a criminal stuff. And I don't care at what level people are at. When you really finally awaken to what the legal is, you'll understand that you do not need any legal paperwork. You do not need anything. However, that being said, that's where I'm at. Okay? That being said, if you need these things, remember, it is the power of your thought that's contained within the paper, not the paper and what I've written on it. The concepts are in there. If you get the concepts, that's putting I've said this countless times, that is putting the gunpowder in that empty grenade. Now you're filling that paper up with your power, with your energy. And when you send it with a light heart, with a giggle, with a condom, like Dadawigi, I've done this, it's fun, you're really sending a clear message. You heard that one response I gave to that lawyer said, well, if you do this again, we're going to have to get my attorneys. And I wrote back, that's the fucking point, bitch. Forward it to the attorneys. I want them to know what's going on, you dope. Thank you very much, Didn't hear anything back, and that's all good. But you see what I'm saying is you got to lose the fear. These are people that haven't got a clue, guys. They are the sleepy ones. They are the truly asleep ones, right? They are being bought and paid for. The marketing has worked on them. It's like when Dadawigi was talking about people suing and all the rest of it. Of course they're going to win because the system wants to keep that emotion going of thinking it's all unfair. It's not, because that's what happens with these wankers, right? It's like they go to mommy and daddy, so-and-so beat me up. They say, okay, well, I'll go over and sort that out. That's the fucking energy around that shit. Is that the game that... But look at how many people are doing this game. Look at how many. Looks like Lori's jumping in here. I think it's Lori. But you see what I'm saying? So use whatever comfort zone you're good at, but the point of it is get lighthearted about it. Have fun with it. You're not going for vengeance. You're going to educate. You're planting seeds. You're going, oh, yeah, you think that kangaroo is cool? Check out this monkey in your head. And off it goes. And And it stays there. It's like a song that will not leave their head, because that's what happens with truth. When you plant a truth seed, it's in there, and it is the bacteria. It is the virus that takes out the entire organism. We've had the negative lie virus planted in us, and it's worked pretty good. So guess what? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Here's some truth. Have a gander, right? So there you go. Are we having fun?
Yeah, we're having fun.
Can I just say one more thing? Another synchronicity. I thought, Kate, you're going up so fast, so high. How can I hold on to kite strings, And then the next day, you say exactly the same thing. I know it's going to be hard for some people. If they just tuned into this show now, they probably just wouldn't have a clue. But
I've been saying the same thing for months. That's the joke. I've been saying the same thing for months.
Isn't it? It's horrible having to repeat yourself, but I'm afraid that the version's on.
But I'll do it. And I think the biggest challenge for me is saying the same thing over and over and making it sound like I'm not. but I am. I'm saying the same thing over and over, and it's getting through. People are getting it. I'm getting the messages from people going, "Holy shit!" I mean, just had to talk to Steve today. He got pulled over at 3:00 this morning, and he knows who he is. I had a great chat with him today. He's in New York, and he knows who he is. And he's like, his attitude was the same as mine last Friday. I don't fucking have time for this. This is stupid, right? Mm-hmm. And it basically ended up with he just went over, talked to him, and what are you doing? I said, I'm just going home. And the guy said, oh, you're going home. I said, yeah, I'm going home. I said, all right, have a good night. And as I said, based on the energy that Steve was sharing, what he was saying on the spiritual level was, I'm going home. I'm not talking about some address here. I'm talking about I'm going fucking home. Okay, I'm out of here. And the spirit hears it. I don't care what anybody says. That spirit hears it, and it's like, oh, okay. Well, you become literally untouchable. If anyone doubts this, listen back to last Friday. My whole universe is sitting on 4 little wheels. I'm sitting completely vulnerable in a parking lot, trying to do a show on an internet connection that is sketchy at best. And then I have OPP, provincial, Hicks, you know what that a provincial is, right? Someone that's unrefined, uneducated. That's why they're the provincial police, right? Spirit seed of lies. Anyway, to the point where, and you can listen to it, it was on air, it was live, it unfolded live, unedited, uncensored in that moment. And, and I'm looking in my rear views as, paying attention to what I'm doing here and looking at it and just seeing them squirming around out with their flashlights or little things and they're looking, oh, fuck, no VINs, oh, fuck, expired plates, oh, fuck, no ID, oh, shit, oh, what do we do? And I just watched everything blow out, especially the face on the one cop. And she said, oh, and how do you spell it? I says, oh, well, I don't know what I said to her. Something like, well, I don't spell it for anybody. You can spell that for yourself. And she immediately closed her book. And then I said, don't be thinking I'm one of those silly Freeman types. I'm Phoenician. And she's, you're Phoenician. I said, yeah, I'm Phoenician. Oh, and then she went over to her car. Next thing you know, the other cruiser pulls up and they're going, oh, here we go, right? And I didn't give a shit. I didn't care. I'm at that point in my universe where universe is going to put me exactly where I need to be in order to be the most effective. That's my deal. I just need to get the truth. I need to get it out there. That's my job. That's my role. That's what I do, and that's all I'm doing, and I don't give a shit. I'm immortal. Go ahead. Have at her. You've stuffed guns in my face. That didn't scare me. The only thing I was worried about was my fucking nails. I said, at least I did my nails tonight. Show me your hands. Well, aren't they pretty? Huh? Right? You can hang out with a tranny for a day. I'm a 5-alarm fire waiting to happen. Oh, man.
The thing is, because I'm quite honest, I did try to pay this bill with cash, and they wouldn't accept my cash. And I was like, no. So the listeners got on to me, and I said, listen, you try to, and I spoke to the guy really nice, and I said, I'm not really quite there, and I said, but you looked at Kate of Gaia, and went, oh, I haven't heard nothing from the format.
Guys, I tell you, do me a favor. Just have some fun with this. You drop that name, Kate of Gaia, and I don't say it's mine. I just say that name. That's like I said. Just look up Kate of Gaia. That's all you need. If you don't know what I'm about, that's what you need. Just drop that shit in people's laps. It scares people. Seriously. Are we not one? Am I not you? Then drop your website. Drop your Google search. Guys, this is the whole point of this. We are one. I know this. You are me, I am you. I am doing this. Like I keep telling people, I'm that nagging thought in the back of your mind saying, wake up! So, by all means, drop the name. It creates a lot of havoc because that's my intention, to put the chaos into that fictional order in order that natural order may resume, the true order, the true state of being. So have fun with it.
Yep. I remember that. Right, you love yourself, not Kate. She doesn't want tongues coming at her from all directions and so. Right, love yourself and you're loving Kate. As simple as that. Hey,
I got to tell you, I've spent a lot of time writing these things, and even infinite more times spent contemplating and working through and writing and just getting in that zone. I mean, I've been at this solid 4 years, and this is all I do. This is all I do. You know, I haven't had an income in over 4 years. Okay? So don't tell me it can't be done. There was a time that I thought it couldn't be, and that's, you guys have heard me at my lowest lows. You've heard me at my highest highs. You know, you get a chance, and I don't mind being that. That's my role here, to show you humanity. That's what I am. That's what you are. So if I can display that, where you can walk this road, and we walk this road together, right? We walk it alone, but we walk it together. That's the difference. When you walk this road together, what you're doing then is you're seeing the bigger picture. You're becoming part of the whole thing instead of separating yourself from it. That's why I tell people with me, I don't mind. I've bared my soul countless times on this table, and that's just to let you know that it's okay. That's what this table's for. It's about letting go of this illusion, this cosmic joke of jokes, and you've got the Coptic keys, and we're getting more and more pieces of this all the time, and it's just getting funnier. I mean, King Mean, are you kidding me? King Aha, A-H-A, there's your DNA strand. Are you kidding me? Could it be this blatant? Yes, it is. This is the proto-language that Mike Tessarian's article was referring to. And it is. It is joy. It's je. That's the name of creation. Je, play. Je in French is I. Be the all-seeing, all-creating I that you are. Stop buying the illusions. The marketing is incredibly fun here, you know. They sell you on everything. They sell you on everything.
Everything.
And you're going to love the ending of Branded, okay? I'm not going to give it away because it is so powerful. But if you get the movie, if you get what's really going on, you'll understand that, and I will say it, the fat lady has sang, and the divine feminine positive has awoken in all her beauteous form. And you will get that, what I just said, if you watch that. And like I said, Branded, just anytime you want to find a movie, just type Watch Now and whatever the movie title is, and it'll typically show up if it's available. And that's what I do, and it works every time. So Watch Now, Branded, and it's on Putlocker. Enjoy it, and I think it's an incredibly and devilishly clever allegorical portrayal of everything we talk of at this table. And when you see it, you'll understand how Misha feels, because you guys are seeing things that others aren't. And don't try to explain that, because you're going to get the same reaction that Misha got from his girlfriend. Okay? Just know that you see it. That's all you need to. You don't need to prove it to anyone. You know it in your heart of hearts. So leave it alone. Ego needs to prove it. I don't. Fortunately, I find neat little things that can prove it, and that's what I do. I said, okay, well, you don't believe me, fine. Here's a neat little trick. Try this out and see how that fits. And then when you do, you go, oh, my God, the bitch has a point. And then you play a little more, and she goes, oh, maybe the tranny's onto something. I mean, oh, yeah, maybe she's not such a cocky little piece of shit after all, you know? And that's okay. It's a game. We play. So there you go. You're God. Get over it. Get on with it.
You play it beautifully, Kate. There's no doubt about that.
Well, you know, it's truth. That's the thing. It's just truth.
It's truth. I guess you went in the deep end, so you've had to deal with it. So it's just different degrees with different people of getting to exactly where you're at. But it's only a matter of time.
It is. It is. Like I keep telling people, I'm one of the lucky ones. I got it all ripped away in one night. Like I didn't have to piecemeal it. I didn't have to let go of little clingies. And I know a lot of you, as myself, you have all. I got to see all my threads going. Someone took a combine harvester through my threads, okay? And I got to feel each and every one of them in the same instant. And even right after all of this went down, everyone I thought I could count on, I couldn't. They were gone. Gone, and I mean gone. And these are people I helped out my whole life. These are people I loved and supported my whole life. But that's what gave me the lesson of gratitude. Was it a gift that I was giving during that? or was it an obligation? And that was a big one. Snip. There it is. I get it. I'm good. And all I have now is gratitude and a big fat smile on my face going, thank you. Because if I had not have experienced that, if I hadn't experienced my Judas, I would never have found the Christ mirror. So I've had a few Judases in my day, and it's all good. It's all good. I got to tell you, there's another neat little clue in this movie with regards to 12. Something else I was talking to Stephen about that just triggered there. But it immediately resonated with what I've been talking about with the 12 zodiacs. You have to solve the 12 zodiacs within yourself. You've got feet, you got Pisces, you got shins, you got Aquarius, you got knees, you got Capricorn, etc. Right up to the top. I don't care what sign you came in with, that's your game piece. You're either the Mickey Mouse on the board or the little race car or the iron or the candlestick or whatever the case may be. It doesn't matter. That's just your game piece. And that'll be the hardest one to overcome first. Like I'm a Gemini. Alvita, you're Gemini. You know what I'm talking about here. Any Geminis know this. Mike, as well as Gemini. Getting past that thinking. You got to shut that little motor down.
Yeah.
That's the Mercury or the Mercury, right? One's a curse, one's a cure. So you gotta neutralize it, and you got to turn it off. And I got to tell you, the best way to turn off the left brain is sit and watch Bill Donahue videos. Works for me like a charm. Like a charm. I just disappear when Bill's talking. Right? And I think I told him on the air that I hope Joan's not upset. I sleep with Bill quite regular.
Well, I am.
What the hell is she talking about?
I know, eh? Isn't it great? There's that assumption presumption again. Go ahead, guys. Not all at once, though. Just go ahead.
Well, you just talked about mother earlier on, Kate, and for the last few months in my bathroom, when I've been in to have a shit or whatever, there's been 2 moths, and they've just been there, and occasionally they wake up and flutter around, but then they go back into a kind of a state of, I don't know, it's not hibernation, they're just kind of total rest, for
they go zen.
One vanished about 2 months ago, and I was kind of sad, I go in and rub him or whatever, I try to connect in some sort of a way, but so that left 1. So he's been here for the last 2 months, and he occasionally wakes up. But only recently then, last week, and I was very sad when it happened, but also happy in another way that I went in one morning and he wasn't there anymore. So I'm wondering, is there any? I know there is significance to moths, but I take it as a sign because I've had quite a lot of signs actually, external signs as well. So does that connect to mother in any way? I'm wondering, or is there any?
What do you feel? These are nature's clues. I mean, Colleen had some beautiful clues the other night with 2 falcons flying with a couple of crows. And who did I hear? I heard from. Dee even mentioned that because Dee listens to the shows, and it gives me beautiful synopses of the overalls in a very short paragraph or 2. And he'd never heard of falcons and crows flying together, and then you heard the pigeons. And Colleen, what was that bird sound earlier? Not the rooster. There was another. I'd never heard it before.
Yeah, it was right on cue too. That rooster.
All right, sorry, it was Joe. It was, in the background, Joe. I heard a bird. I didn't know what. I meant to ask you what that was, Joe. If you can maybe shed some light on that.
And I said, no, I gotta say.
I'm not sure. I live on an old bird.
Oh, I just opened another line there. It's a bit noisy. Okay.
D13.
Yeah. No, that wasn't. That was a number I couldn't recognize. Here's the other one I couldn't recognize earlier, so we'll check that one out. No, still quiet.
There are birds everywhere.
Hello?
Can you hear
what
me?
is it?
Sorry, I just realized.
Yeah, I can hear you now, Joe. What is it?
There are that many birds on this island where I live.
Oh, okay.
But what stood out just then, I was saying to my husband, listen to that, the birds on the Arnott's biscuits tin. I said, look, they're around here too because the umbrella trees are out with the big red flowers. I said, we've got the lorikeets everywhere. They're all getting drunk on the flowers, and we're just looking at them and laughing. So, the bird on the Arnott's tin?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'd love to get some pictures and what have you, because I know where you are, of course, Tres tropical. So and I'm kind of partial to that sort of stuff. I really don't like snow. I think we got above zero today.
Well, the bird is the rosella.
Oh, nice.
Rodella.
Rotella. Well, there's the Cinderella, and now we have Rotella. So that's the spirit breath of the law of truth and the divine feminine, letting her voice be heard. So getting back to what Pete was saying about the moths, well, Pete moths, isn't that interesting? The bogs, it all ties together. Find what resonates with you. Typically with me, if something's into my awareness that catches my intuitive, I Google the shit out of it.
Yeah.
You run with it.
I take it as a great sign, Kate. I took it as a great sign. Even though it's sad to see it go, I took it as a great sign that it's kind of work here. Its company for me is no longer needed, and it's time to I just spread my own wings and take off as well. I think. I actually think, Kate, that and I know putting dates on things is dangerous, but I think this Easter, April 20th, is a very important date.
Oh, every moment of now is. Yeah, I concur. Every moment of now is. I really, really avoid any form of dates.
I know.
No,
but just
that's
the
not
Easter Sunday, Easter Sunday, and the resurrection of man, and all that.
Oh,
and actually, funny enough, Kate, I was looking at, and actually two funny things. I found the other night, just lying by a dumpster, the Book of Revelations by John, and I took it home and I read it for the first time tonight, and I was a bit moved by it. But another thing was I was looking at I don't know where I saw the name of Jesus, Yeshua, and it's an anagram of you, Shay, and my name is Shay. That's my name, whatever you want to call it. That's my nickname. My surname is Sheehan, so I've always been known as Shay, and I think that's what I'm going to go by now from here on in. And it's an anagram of you, Shay. So
I'd say that's a really good allegory, anagogic clue to tell you that you are the Christ consciousness. You all are.
Yes, and I've been saying that to myself and my son, and brilliant.
Well, you know what? Just to interject here is that, because, I mean, it's not by coincidence. I think a lot of people think that, I think they walk around and, I mean, I did this, right? Am I the Christ? And what I think and know is that the Christ beings, okay, is it's coming to its point where things are going to be right on cue, is that they are here right now, you know? And that's the awakening that's coming, and that's where it's why when I say, when you talk about the father, right, going into the magnetic mother, that's the key right there.
Well, again, if you mirror the intent of the fa being the heart note, which is the magnetic, and the mother being the modus operandi, which is the electric intent, you see how it's flipped over upside down and backwards. So where the masculine is actually feminine and the feminine is actually masculine. I've covered this many times. Yeah. So do not be, and it will run you, your ego will go, no! But heart says, I'm going to have a look at this. And then you're going to sit with it and you're going to say, well, does it think right? Yeah. Does it feel right? Yeah. And you put it together and you go, isn't that a clever trick? Everything here, this is the other side of the looking glass, Alice. Get on the other side and dare to flip it over, where the mother is actually the masculine and the father is actually the feminine. That's why Rome has Mother Church and Father Pope. So it's, and again, I've talked about the male body being the female divine spirit and the female body being the masculine spirit within. So it's a complete separation from all. And that, well, for me especially, it feels right, it thinks right, and it makes total sense in terms of a mirrored world here. And it defies anything that feels like it defies the social norm. That rocks for me. That's my world, because this place is pure fucking insanity.
Yes.
It really is. Like when you sit back, oh yeah, it's just okay, and
crazy. Yes.
Oh man.
Right.
I was just going to ask Kate, do you have any recollections of previous existences?
Well, they're all happening now, right? So what you can do, when people talk about previous lives, it's like that Buddhist joke the other day I saw. It was friggin' hilarious. Reformed Buddhist, it said, what was it? Something about don't make the same mistake twice. Right? On one sign and the other sign it said, say no to reincarnation. Okay? There is no such thing as reincarnation. Okay? What there is, for me, are alternate timelines of reality. This is why once you get this and you got the world by the tail, boys and girls. There is only one moment of now. All other moments of now exist in parallel reality. And that's where you're going to see the interweaving once you bring. It's like when you have a thought. Okay, that's of the game grid. That's anything in your imagination is already a created reality. So when you're in that imagination, you're bringing that yourself, your spirit and body, to that reality. So what happens? Like, give you an example. And someone says, "Well, what happens if you get pulled over by the cops?" And I say, "Well, that's your reality. It's not mine." So that's what you're manifesting for yourself. And how many times have you done this? How many times have you put that thought so strongly there that it actually happens? Because that's how it works. You've drawn yourself into that parallel timeline. And when you think of the magic and majesty of this game that we are playing, that it works for each and every point of consciousness in this universe, never mind 7.3 billion humans and the countless billions of other life forms here, that's all interweaving all at the same time. It is beyond miraculous. So the word impossible is just such an oxymoron to me now. It's I'm possible. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And we got duped out by choice.
I'm
We're playing a game.
possible, right? Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Me fail English? That's impossible.
Yeah. I'm possible. Well, if you're conscious, it's possible. It's possible to be conscious.
Exactly. All right, who just jumped in there?
Manny, Sunny Sun.
Hey, Manny, how are you?
Hey, Manny.
No. Hey, guys. I hope you guys having fun with Kate and her wordsmith and just, doing collateral damage to the weaving of multi-dimensional beings that we are.
Oh, I'm jumping up and down in my
thread. Hey, no, I'm not in your thread. I'm in mine. But everyone's thinking that same... It's beautiful.
I can see you jumping.
You guys were talking about reincarnation. Yeah, I'm jumping. Whatever. Saying hi to everyone in the occult table. I mean, round table.
The occult table.
Hello, mate.
Oh, what a cult.
What a night, right?
Well, there's nothing hidden. There's nothing hidden that's not going to be revealed. That's for damn sure.
Mirror, mirror.
Peter just proved that he found revelations today, right? So it's all revealed. Thanks, Pete. That's you, the Mothman. You had to bring
it here. There was no kind of do you have an initial page of a book that lists the publisher or the copyright? There was nothing at all. It was just a short booklet, and brilliant. And I read it. I don't know what the hell it was about. I need you to help me with that, Kate. But it was, it was what it was.
It's all good, but I keep telling people, Google is your friend. Play. Now remember, Google becomes Kul, which is Ku, the calm of the peace dove, harvest, right? So go harvesting. We got Colleen in the call here now. Go figure. Yay. There you are.
Oh, hello, Colleen.
All right.
Yay. Yay.
Yay.
Now she just unmute.
Oh.
And then I say, I'm mute, Colleen.
You were saying you're sick
Hello?
of snow, Kate.
There she is.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, Colleen.
Hi. I wanted to share
Welcome to the round
about
table.
the moth.
Oh, lovely.
I knew it. She's going to have a card. All right.
All right.
Who is it that was talking about the moth? Is it
that
Dana?
was me, Colleen, Peter, or Shay. You can call
Peter.
me.
Hi, Peter. Hi.
Well, we'll call you Shay if that's
Sorry,
preferred.
Peter.
Whatever works for you. You're talking to another druid. Another mix.
Well, of course, like Kate said, the very first thing is when you have an animal come in front of you, to always go with what you're feeling in your heart, what messages they're bringing, and of course, getting deep and dark and quiet helps with that. But this is what it's for the animal wisdom for moth is strong healing abilities, ability to perceive with clarity, ability to guide from the dark to the light. Moth's wisdom includes the power of the whirlwind, ease of movement in darkness, shadow, transformation, ability to confuse enemies, ability to find light in darkness. That's the main wisdom of the moth.
Beautiful.
Well, there you have it.
You ever see a moth hummingbird? I saw a moth hummingbird last summer. You ever see a moth hummingbird? Yeah, thanks, Colleen. You got some good readings there. Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, moth hummingbird. I saw 2 of them last summer. I didn't see a real one. I got a hummingbird feeder. Yeah, but a moth hummingbird is pretty cool. It's amazing. Yeah. But the other thing is, see, we're not trying to lead people into light. We're trying to lead them back into the darkness. That's where the real
back to their own light.
Yeah.
Time to empty that rail of all that shitty light that you got going on that someone else is poisoning you with,
That's where this is where the alchemy takes place. It's going back into that void.
And that's what the moth brings, the ease of movement in the darkness and the shadow.
Brilliant. And I mean, he's left now, and I was sad, as I said, but I've overcome it, and I think I've realized his time. I didn't need him anymore, So.
Well, that's it. Again,
his transformation and your transformation, Peter.
Yeah,
they work at the same time.
Mirroring each other, and and just like Peter's talking, just with a moth, that connection. It really is. It's such a heart and soul connection with even the moths and the insects.
Every time I went into the bathroom, Colleen, I rubbed him 4 times on one wing, or 4 times on one side of the wing and 2 times on the other. The reason I do that is I'm 42 this year, and of course 42 is the ultimate answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe and everything. So I think in more ways than one, this year holds so much for all of us,
Yes, beautiful.
Absolutely. Wow, you guys got me going for 35 minutes over into the recording tonight, and it's Friday night. What are the odds of that happening? Pretty good, apparently, 100% at this point. But just we got about 20. Let me see. Let me just check the board for about 25 minutes anyway. So we'll roll it on, and we'll finish off with March is in like a lion, out like a lamb. And yes, it's still lots of snow here. It finally started doing a little melting today. So that was good.
You say that, Kate, and here in Clare, in Ennis and Clare, no snow whatsoever over the winter. But tonight, about a minute of light snow, and that was it. That was our only exposure this year.
Wow, there you go. Well, there's your lion. Yeah, that's the thing. All the time I lived there, I remember. I really only remember one snowfall, and it was at school, and everyone was gone by for break, right? Basically because everybody made a snowball and scraped it all up off the playground. That was all there was. And actually, it was really funny because I think about between 600 and 700 students all out in the playground at the same time, and it was funny. Mr. Thompson, go figure. Anyway, he was walking along by the school, and this thought went around everybody, and everybody launched their snowball at Mr. Thompson, and not one hit him, not one, and he didn't break his stride. But you saw the looking out of the corner of his eye, saying, "Oh shit!" Right? I'm talking, this wall of snowballs came at him. We all missed. Imagine that, 600-700 snowballs in the air coming at one guy, and not one of them touched. Not one.
Wow.
And that was it. All the ammo was gone because we scraped up everything we could. My only experience with a snowball fight in Ireland. Unbelievable. Good thing he wasn't a barn door. We probably would have missed that too. But anyway.
Did you get a chance to learn Irish in schools?
No, God, no. I went. I was on the prod side of things, so it's Ram the Queen and all that shite down your throat. Rip you out of Gaelic, rip you out of all the proper stuff. Teach you how the royals like to, murder, rape, and pillage each other. And war.
Okay.
Yeah, there's my UK schooling, pretty much in a nutshell. I had a couple of really good teachers, though. Like I said, the one that comes to mind always is Mr. Anderson, my maths teacher, and he was the only teacher there, actually really the only one I ever encountered that taught how to think. If there was a druid in my school, he was it. Because he that's actually what I use the same technique that he taught me when I was 11, 12, 13 years old, of how to deconstruct a formula, an algebraic equation, down to why it worked. So that whole process was embedded, so I could, and it definitely worked well with songwriting too, because it was a natural instinct at that point. It was an intuitive after a while. And that's what I do with Phoenician, and that's just probably why, and I go over it very quickly, and it's like it's normal to me. That's why I'm making the effort to really. I've had enough people tell me, slow down, bitch. Okay, I'll slow down. The other side of the coin, the high priest, is this. I've said much of the same thing over and over, hoping that, if the mind doesn't hear it, the spirit does. And you'll start doing that intuitively anyway, because this, for me, is a natural state of being. It's a natural inquisitiveness. It's a natural intuitive. And it's really funny when you figure it out. And the name of all creation is jeu, play. So let's play. We forgot how to play, boys and girls.
Do you think music comes into this, Kate? I find that a lot of truth seekers.
My whole life is music.
And see through the fog seem to be musicians.
That's my whole life.
By the way, beautiful music, Kate. I write music myself, but beautiful. I wish you'd play more throughout the show, or whatever.
I'll get back to it. I actually started picking my guitar up last few days, and I'll definitely, because I really, really, that's my heart. And I don't do it enough, and it puts me in far, far away land. It always has, it always will. I can just sit down and play 3 or 4 chords over and over, and I just disappear in it. It's like Kevin was saying. He cleans the house and whatever. If you want time to meditate, then go and do the dishes. Turn your brain off and just do the dishes. Go and put a recipe together. Get a potter's wheel. I don't care what it takes to get you out of the symbols, the crashing symbols of light for 5 minutes. Because all you need is a lightning flash away, and you'll see that in the movie Branded as well. It's not, and there are. I have to keep reinforcing this. There are no coincidences. There are only coincidences to the infinite degree. Everything connects.
You know what they called the cowboys there that didn't brand their cows? They called them mavericks. They were mavericks. They didn't follow the status quo. Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah.
Ver, I see Ka. So there it is. The heart note of creation. Let's call that. Because you got the the M-O and the Fa together, M-A. So there's your the heart and intention combined in one. Ver, truth, verily. And I see.
Maverick.
Maver, I see Ka, S, which is I, the self, meaning yes, the yes of all to self. C, the of unconditional love, Ka, the personification of spirit in the divine feminine, S.
Yeah,
of course.
All perfect.
Everything does. That's the joke of it. I can't prove this shit wrong. I've been trying. It's driving me nuts. But it works, right?
Yeah.
The only time I will accept something is if I can't prove it wrong. If I can't prove something I'm doing wrong, that's the only time I'll accept something. I go scientific method, anti-scientific method. You see, I don't have a preconceived notion of an outcome. I simply go at it and go, isn't that an interesting outcome? I'm going to prove it wrong to see if it works. And that's where I found everything. I found it in the mirror by trying to be wrong. Ego wants to be right. Me, you can have that. I'm good with that. I'll keep the spirit side of things. Everything's backwards here. You look in the mirror and there's the alternate universe looking right back at you. Just like that.
A movie called That's What I Am with Ed Harris.
Oh, cool.
And he is a teacher at a school, and he is the druid of the school. It is a brilliant movie for entertainment, but for the analogies. I watched it a few weeks ago.
What's it called again?
That's What I Am.
That's What I Am. Okay. Oh, a nice title. It pretty much spells it out for you, doesn't it?
Yep, and it plays out perfectly in it. It's a really well put together analogous.
Anagogic. Yeah, analogies and anagogics.
Exactly. Yeah. There's so much in it. I won't go into it. Definitely worth watching.
Oh, and for those that are wondering, anagogic simply means the mystical higher meaning. That's all it means.
Yeah, I looked it up.
It's a spiritual meaning of the word, or of the discovery. This is what the mystics were teaching in the mystic schools. Now you understand. Here's the problem with this kind of power when you have it. If you are not of a benevolent, well, you're going to destroy yourself, 1,000-fold. That's the thing. These entities, aspects of our consciousness that are working in that malevolent side of things in ignorance, are going to have to keep repeating the cycle until they break free of it or disappear forever. That's the game you're playing here. That's why I do this every night.
It doesn't sound too pleasant.
Well, it's certainly a road I want.
You know what, though? Yeah. I think the only thing the thing that's going to disappear is the illusion of the ego. Like the spirit
the construct,
of what we do. Yeah, the construct, yeah.
I simply call it bad thoughts that go away. So there. You see, there's another separation from the all, thinking that other bodies are not you. That's why I work on me, because the things that I fix in me, I see reflected instantly in the consciousness. That's why I spend the time I do with me, shaping my reality. So this is my lateral time slide. So I keep changing my timeline reality based on that, knowing that it's a happy ending, right? You're going to be the happy ending. Just hold that thought, and you'll be fine.
It's like an infinite game of stepping stones, Kate, isn't there? Except there's an infinite row full of stones, and you just choose which stone to jump from and from one row to the next.
I can only imagine what the next level is like. This is friggin' weird and wild and whatever. But like last Saturday, I had that, like I said, that most profound other sidewalk. Yeah, it was. I've had dreams. I had some crazy, beautiful dreams lately. I've been able to. It's neat because I actually had the one confirmed in my cards, and now I know what I have to do when I get there. But no, this was. I have, on occasion, woke up wondering, "Oh, what the hell am I doing here?" But I got to tell you, last Saturday was the most profound, literal separate. This is the dream, boys and girls. This that we're here right now is the dream.
Gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my dreams are beautiful, and this reality
absolutely.
is not so great sometimes. But
oh, exactly.
Well, you know what I say is, you have to wake up, right? Because that's what happened with me. Is you have to wake up to realize that you're dreaming, right?
Yep. You got to let go. That's all you got to do. You got to let go of the physical, and you can see instantly, depending on your own perspective, how difficult that is maybe for yourself, or how seemingly impossible it might be for others around you. But they're not your concern. You're your only concern. You take care of you. You take care of the law of truth and love thyself. Know thyself, and everything else comes along. You create the reality. If there are people you want to, quote, save, unquote, then you best save yourself, because in that process they're saved anyway. That's why we all go home. At what point of now? Well, that's going to be determined by you. So I stay the course on the immortal path, and I stay on Interstate 60, a.k.a. 90, actually, and know that all is well. Everything happens for a reason. I would tell you the journey from Friday morning to Saturday, or I would say Saturday night, was one of an infinite low to an infinite high, and I'm still in the wake of that. Today I've started coming out of it, because it was like taking a boat, the Poseidon, flipping it over one way, then flipping it over the other way, then setting it upright, and then trying to get your bearings. That's exactly what last Friday and Saturday were for me. They were complete polarized opposites, going from this scenario on Friday night of these little, werewolves traveling around the car and stuff, and, looking for prey and vampires and stuff, right? To this most beautiful music that I swear it must have been Alvita was singing or something. I heard Janet giggling. And to hearing this beautiful music and to hear this, you are chosen, like a fucking game show. It's like, okay, as I'm rising up through this shimmering blue, light powder blue, shimmery silvery water, go to the other side, and it's like Adventureland. It was just like the Phantom toll booth. And then of course the kid comes back and he's talking to his friend. Oh, you're still there? I was gone for like days, and it's only 5 minutes, right? And that's exactly what it felt like. I was gone for days. So and what did the kid at the end of Phantom Toll Booth do? He's talking to his friend. His friend says, there's a box here, and that's the allegory of, well, this kid that had just went Milo that had just went through this journey said, well, there's nothing I can say here, and he just up and said, because there's nothing you can say. All you can do is plant seeds of the truth. You don't need to ram and jam it down anyone's throat like the media does and all the rest of it. All you need to do is tip their boat enough, give them enough doubt in their reality with the truth, and that puppy will go on and on like a song you can't get out of your head. The spirit always reacts to it. That is the catalyst that creates the reaction, leaving you unchanged, and you've created a chain reaction within that other point of view, the other point of consciousness, family, or whatever the case may be. With me, I love sending out stuff to the system. I do have to put something together for last weekend or last Friday's little thing, just to let them know that was a lot of fun. Thank you for acknowledging the fact that I'm not a dead meat stick like one of your dogs. Much appreciated. And I don't pull any punches on it either. I just state the facts, and I'm not being derogatory when I say that, because any good dog or any animal that you train will react accordingly. So they react according to their training. They're well trained on leashes somewhat, but that's all they are to me. They are animalistic consumers. That's all they are. just aberrated points of consciousness within me, within all of us, and I do my best to eradicate anything that I would have any sort of any reaction. And I got to tell you, they're very fine things with me now. I spot them instantly because my radar is on full bore, and I'm looking directly at me. Why did I react like that? What is that? Okay, work through it, and I just push right through it. Whatever the reaction is, I do the mirror opposite and push right through it. And it's getting easier and easier. The more you let go, the lighter you get.
Yeah.
That's what it means to have a weightless heart.
Yeah. And hey, you know what, too? That's why, like, when I say that I had to wake up, because that's what, when you get in that 0 point, right? You know, we wake up, we go to bed, we fall asleep. I wake up in the morning. Well, I had to wake up to realize that I was sleeping or dreaming, and that's the 0 point that I've gotten into, that I'm in now. You know, but because I went back to the literal for a little bit, you know, but being immortal, snap out of it. I mean, what's 10 years, right? So, anyways, that's the thing, is holding that point that we're dreaming. You know what I'm saying? There's no such thing as literal.
Well, it's like Joe said.
There's no such thing as real.
Yeah, the dreamer and the dreamed, and that's what we're doing right now. And like I said, the 2 cards I want to. We only got about 6-7 minutes here, but the start and finish cards tonight were 13, the death, and of course the tower was in there in perfect spot. And without getting into any details on it, but the Death 13 card means change. There's your Christ consciousness. And then the final outcome was 7, which is God. What are the odds? The Chariot. The Ki Ri O T, right? So there's your Ka Ri O T. There's so many beautiful things. These are why these words were formed the way they were and what they create. So what I'm doing now is going deeper and deeper into the proto-language and tying it together. And I'm going to go back through Mike Tessarian's work again and take some serious notes on it, just for posterity, so that I can to illustrate even more of this. Because when you start seeing these things for yourself, you prove them to yourself. You don't got to prove anything to anyone, just you. And when you see it and you get that, oh my God moment, that's another click on your DNA. Literally.
Kate, don't get too deep on us, Kate, because if you do, you won't have any need for words anymore.
Well, that's the whole game, you know, and neither will any of us, because that'll be in that reality, you see. And this is what we're creating. We're creating that reality right now. And how cool is that?
So cool. I'm down with that. Right on, sister.
You know, so we do this together, right? That's why I tell people, by all means, you know, you might be surprised at some of the reactions you get from people when you say something as trivial as, well, just Google Kate of Gaia, especially to the system. They know this bitch. They know me hardcore. I often laugh. I really do, especially when I'm talking to someone that's higher up and they're saying, oh, I don't know you. Yeah, bullshit. Is that why you don't respond to emails? Is that why you're paranoid when I pick up the phone to call you and are you recording this? No, but the Akashic is.
I'm going to make a big flag and put Kate of Gaia on it and stick it on all the court buildings
the other day.
You know, so it's all good. It's all good. Again, it's a cosmic joke, and look how serious some of these meat sticks are taking it. Right?
Yeah. You're right. It's and you know what? When I say we're dreaming, the energy is real. The energy is absolutely real. I mean, in the sense that it's we make the unreal from that energy. You know, our ability to dream is absolutely connected to the point of these energies, and you know, but see, and that's the thing too. I know that. Going into that void. See, this is the thing. This is the magical. You know what I wanted to say, too, is who I forget her name. Janet, the one in California?
Janet Epison or something?
Yeah, because, well, yesterday, this is what I was going to say, but I was out, and I look in the sun when the sun, 2 hours before the sun sets, I go out and stand and look at it. And yesterday I'm standing there, and the clouds, the street that I live on, the trees, between the trees that look like mountains. But so I'm looking up, and just over the trees, literally a sphinx appeared out of the clouds. It had the paws out, the head, the body, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
then
I was getting ready to walk in, and then I said, no, I'll just stand here and stare at the sun a little bit, close my eyes, I'd open them, and all of a sudden, literally, over the Sphinx started to disappear. An alien face appeared. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Right? And then, so anyways, I stayed there for a little bit, then I came in, and that night, after we got done talking, I went outside, probably 1, 2 in the morning. I'm looking up at east towards the ocean, and just above, literally, a whale with its mouth open, a whale formed. The head of it right down, the back to the tail. And I remember Janet saying, because she said Mike and Colleen or something, all the stuff you guys were talking about. I must not have been listening in, or it was, but I was like, wow, a whale appeared. So I thought that was pretty interesting, That was magic.
Absolutely. Well, we're down to about a minute or so here, guys. Again, I just want to thank you guys for standing in truth, standing too. You're standing to post, you're not yielding, and definitely none will pass. That's the creator-destroyer, by the way. And spend some time. Like last night, I went out and had checked out the stars, and it's funny that the same constellation that I was looking at was the same one that was in the movie today. Yeah, that's just a coincidence. Anyway, guys, just play.
Yeah.
I mean that with all my heart. Just play. We lost sight of who and what we truly are. We are the children that create the light. We're not children of the light. We're not children of the corn. We are the all-creator. This is the gift that we all have. And it's time to say, I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it.
Stand in truth and move. Universe loves a body in motion, baby. You create the void, universe will fill it with whatever you want. So create the void, get neutral in your heart, and get on with your life, and get on with playing. And all I can tell people to do is just plant the seeds. Something resonates. Again, we go through these shit and all the rest of it to keep you trapped in the bliss or the glee of insanity, rather, where bliss is what you're really looking for. Now, I was asked if Santo used my documents in court. He had sent in pretty much everything and was staying ahead of the curve. And that when they came for him, they had taken a lot of time to compile a lot of files, and that to me is just a measure of the threat that he is. And the only thing that got him was the simple fact that he claimed to be that name. And there were still some things in place, I'm sure I know of one, that were spiritual contracts still binding him to the whore of Babylon. So that's my overview on it. And really, it goes on here. He also asked, why is Dean Clifford still in jail for 3 months? Well, he doesn't know who he is yet. And I'm going to be very gentle on this. All legal is all fiction. And for those that have been at this table long enough, you know exactly what I'm saying. It's the same thing. Like you go back a week ago today, what was different between what I've done and what others have done, and why did these guys tuck tail and head for the hills? Well, it's quite simple, because there's no spiritually binding contract. This is the power of your choice. This is the part that you're going to find the hardest to believe. This, like in the movie Branded, this is the one thing that I can see, just like this guy could see things growing out of the back of people's necks in the form of like parasites, and it was an allegorical representation of their desires and their ego and their lusts. And it also showed that when that desire was fulfilled, this thing would break off and create this monster around the brand name that they were desiring so strong. So it was feeding the beast, as it were. And here's the thing about the documents. Yeah, lots of people use my documents. Many use them with great, perfect success, and others don't. None of the writing has changed. What changed? Well, that's what it is. It's the ones that know who they are. Do not get into any spiritual contract with vampires or werewolves. They don't get invited in. There's no assumption and presumption allowed at this point. There's not even, come out here and have a look, your gas tank, that's an order. No, I'm sorry, I'm well aware of it. And quite frankly, if I was in danger, I'd know all about it. I'll trust me. Because I'll tell you, anyone walking around with a uniform clown suit with a 9mm penis extension and with orders to rape and pillage and steal, I'm not going to listen to that. You're not going to threaten me either. There's the magic, right? You're going to pull a stunt, then pull a stunt. But I know all you're holding is a busted straight to my royal flush to the ace of spades high. That's where I stand. And it's not about being arrogant. It's about standing in your power, knowing truth and where you've got to in that truth. And you do not relinquish it. You do not yield it. The other side of it, too, is, there are, for anyone that's still playing in the legal game that's still trying to pull the stunts, the only ones that are actually that would deem to be winning is, again, this COINTELPRO stuff, to keep people in that same paradigm, just like the New Agers, the New Cagers, just like the Opt, Nasara, all of these other carrots that keep getting waved to keep people thinking physical accoutrements, physical comforts, appease the ego, make everybody happy and still in that state of insanity. And the only ones that are getting any form of a win whatsoever, and I put that in very small letters with huge quotation marks, are ones that I would deem complete and only COINTELPRO. The other ones are that are, like, say, in jail or whatever, they're getting taken out of the way to keep them safe, right? It also lends to the concept that I carry that anyone that's still creating conflict, I don't want in my universe. I don't want in my reality. And anyone that's out there pumping legal shit is you might as well be pumping manure out of the back of a truck into someone's throat. So I'm not really into that either. So I just call.
You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now it's our turn.
Hey, good evening. Welcome to Outside the Box. Yours truly, Kate of Gaia, broadcasting from an undisclosed location somewhere in the universe. Yeah, here on criticalmassradio.co.uk. Yep, there we are. Here we are again, huh? Isn't that funny how that works? Never seems to be too far away, does it? I didn't really have anything in particular I want to go over tonight, but a few things did cross the brain pan today. I'd like to thank Steve Travesty for had sent me a link for a movie called Branded. It's a co-production between a Russian director and an American director, and it's a beautiful portrayal of how the seeds of discord get planted, and it uses marketing and branding as a very, very powerful tool. There's also a ritual that he does within it. It's an ancient ritual, a burning of the red cow he goes through the ritual anyway, which effectively allows you to, once you finish this ritual, see things that other people don't see. And I'm sure many of you out there are seeing things that others aren't seeing, and you can't put it into words. You just kind of go, yeah. And we've been taught to doubt that. That's called your intuitive, your gut instinct, your Virgo womb creation area. But one of the things I did want to go over, there was a post just came up on Facebook, and thanks, Derek. I do occasionally like to translate literal legal into the spiritual trap that it is, just so people have a better understanding. And it's spelled out very neatly for you if you know how to read properly. In terms of you don't want to be a lawyer anyway to get stuff. You don't have to be. It's right in your face for anyone that's dealing in planet Earth commerce at all whatsoever. So this is what Derek had posted. Check out this definition for person that he just came across. So here we go. Let me just do it literal, and then I'll give you the spiritual contracts that are contained within it and show you some of the phonetic connections to prove this. Person means a known body corporate. Well, we all know that corporate is corpse, dead, right? Trust, association, partnership, sole proprietorship, or individual, whether in existence or not, and includes the known name or known trademark for which any of them carry on business or identify themselves. Okay. Part 2, Section 1, for the purpose of Clause 10, 1B of the Act, if the use of that name would be likely to deceive includes. And that's what the whole thing is. Any use of a name uttered, written, spoken, hinted at is all spiritual contract. Because what you're doing is you're separating yourself from all of consciousness. That's what you don't want to do. That's completely contrary to what we want to do. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, a person means a known body corporate. So if you are known by a name, you are a known body corporate, and you're carrying on business in the Whore of Babylon under that corporate dead fiction, the dead crone whore. Crown Corporation, Crow Mine, Crow N, Crow Magnon sounds more like it, right? Better get their eyebrows embossed even bigger. Really lets them away, and you can see the slant of the forehead with no prefrontal lobe too. All the clues are there if you can look. You just need the eyes to see it. Bottom line is very simple. If you are using any sort of a legal name identification and are still in full party to it, you are under a spiritually binding contract. Now, there was questions that came up to me today. I'm going to bring them up, and it's asking about two individuals in particular, and I will share my perspective on it. People can think what they want. I don't give a royal rat's ass because for me, it's only about the truth, and I'm going to touch back on what I was talking about last night with the new cage, CoinTel Pro, free energy, selling the new cage paradigm, the peace, love, internal grooviness, all a spade. But anyway, interesting. I noticed a lot of connections regarding the Rubicon. Someone sent me an email with a Rubik's Cube, and of course, Dee's been right on line with everything I've been talking about, and of course, things that he's not even aware of. I'm opening it up, and I've already had a look at it, kind of stuff. What was the other one? Referencing Mott, and what? Oh, that was another thing I wanted to get into tonight. During the conversation I had with Steve, was talking about the transgendered aspect of Michelle Obama and who Obama is. And for me, it's very simple. It's a physical representation trying to feign power in the physical realm. There you have Akhenaten in the form of Obama. You've seen the profile shots, right? The physical aspect. So there's someone that's trying to be thought. And, of course, Mott, which is a transgender or transgender, Michelle Obama, who is the negative physical attribute of Mott. So I look at that as being the double negative of the negative masculine, negative feminine, right? So it's a fractal. I just see the fractals of it, and it made total sense. So again, here's another mimic of natural law, trying to use the power through that, if anyone's buying the bullshit, which I'm not, which completely takes that veil and shroud right off of them and leaves them naked energetically and exposed for the spiritual bullshit vampire werewolf aspect that they're playing here. So I don't buy. Sorry. I'm a careful shopper. Now, there was something very interesting at the beginning of this movie. Branded, all the greats could see something others could not. That's how the movie opened up. And I think for many of you listening that are in this headspace, you will see exactly in this movie what I saw in what this guy's name was Misha. Yeah, Hannibal, again, pulls it all together. But anyway, this guy Misha, after this ritual, could see these things and no one else could see them. But it gave him an edge because then he could turn around and use that, what he could see, to change the world. And that was one of the quotes that, Joan of Arc, Alexander the Great, who else? Oh, there's a whole list of people, Socrates, etc., that they listed at the beginning, and they all had one thing in common. They all could see something that others couldn't, and they all changed the world. And when you watch this little movie, you'll get the concept of just how easy that really is. It's not difficult at all. It's about what kind of ideas are being planted in your mind, and just have a look at mainstream mass media. Have a look at your society around you. Have a look at the systems that have been constructed around you to pigeonhole you and make you think in a certain way. And have a look at your friends and family and all the communities around you and watch them go through their robotic day after day routine of the same shit, different day. And then, of course, Ninja did a beautiful piece on the hooks as far as calendars are concerned, and I'm just going to check the board because I'd really love for her to come in and read her essay. It's very poignant, and no, she's not on the board that I can see. But anyway, the call's out to her, and I don't hear from her. I will pull it up and read it myself because it's, again, the calendars are, what's his name? Oh, come on. Ian Lungold, right. Anyway, he did a beautiful series on calendar and the control of the calendar and how destructive it is in terms of getting people to be planning ahead, thinking ahead, getting people built into certain emotional responses. I mean, look at the emotion around Christmas, look at the emotion around Valentine's, look at the emotion around St. Pat's, look at the emotion around Independence Days and Halloween and all of the rest of this stuff. And you'll see that there are ingrained within each one of these, quote, festivals, feast of alls, the energies that are being presented and how they're being manipulated. And we all fell into it. Here, I went out and grabbed a few groceries today, and they've got all the Easter stuff set up, and it's just a grocery store. But this whole calendar marketing bullshit paradigm has got people so conditioned, right? You go into a store right after Christmas, and they're already setting up for spring. Got to get the spring fashions, got to get the summer fashions, got to get the fall and winter, and it's a constant barrage of branding. Now look at the word branded. Well, I changed that phonetically, and it tells me it's easy. It's brain dead, brand dead, brain dead. Same difference, right? Just like a cow. And that's the interesting thing about this movie as well, is it opens up with a kid having a vision and the stars in the sky in the shape of a cow's head turn to him. So there's your cow jumps over the moon, hey Thor, and it goes on and on. I want to get down those trails as well. I have a few things I'm going to get into tonight. I wanted to talk about the Red Hand of Ulster and there's some etymology as per Mike Tessarian from his website. I thought this is well worth reading in terms of etymology, and there's a lot of different references in this as well. And I also found out that I talked about this last night. King Mean also had another name. Let me see, what would that be? Aha, that's what it is. And it was also apparently a name of one of his sons. But there's your aha moment. This is the King Mean. Now remember what mean means, right? It means an average. Okay, so there are no coincidences here. And once you see the anagogic, everything becomes literal in a different reality. So you're coming out of the literal reality, seeing the allegory, seeing what it's really meaning, redefine it through Phoenician, and now you've got a completely different literal reality. So that's how you step away from it. I covered this with the allegory of shoot the bull and why it meant what it meant. So let me quickly go through that just to get you in this train of thought, to start digging deeper into this stuff. Bring your crayons, okay? Shoot the bull, okay. Allegorically, when someone would say that, as a common saying I've heard for many years, it means just to go and let's go shoot the bull, let's go have a talk, right? So, no one ever asked why. So I did. And I thought, okay, well, why does shoot the bull mean to go and talk? Yeah, it's an allegory. It's a metaphor, actually, not quite the allegory. So I look at it, and I think, okay, well, you've got shoot, which means to eject or push forth. Well, there's your theos. And the H plays a very important role here, too. But anyway, you have the law of truth, T, the note of love, kappa, ta, L, right? You have the H, which is the Pillars of Solomon joined with the Rainbow Bride, take the hex out, and then they're mated. And you have E, which is the mirror of 9, which is consciousness. And bull. Well, bull is Taurus. Remember, if there is a sound, there are many intentions contained within it, and you can use whatever one you want. So if I can say the bull from Taurus, that's an agreed upon. So there's power in that spell or spelling. So what is a Taurus? Well, a Taurus is a creation field. And you create that when you talk. Anytime you say himself, herself, itself, creation, anytime you say anything, literally, into the Taurus field around you, that's your reality. So shoot the bull, to eject God through the pearly gates of the Taurus mouth into the toroidal field. So shoot the bull works. Just like Anubis. I explained this one, I think, last night or the night before. Anu, meaning heart, and biz, meaning duality. So it's the heart of duality. And that most certainly is death. No question. So there's the words proved. Now, do you think the Egyptians were thinking this? Of course they were, but they weren't aware of it. That's the thing. We're playing the game of awareness, not the game of knowing. We're in Aquarius. We're in that point of, well, you know all things. No question. You know all things. You have just been made less aware of them, and that's the whole dumbing down process. And again, it's just a game. It's a cosmic joke. Can you get past it? All right, so there's how to take something and redescribe it literally. Shoot the bull from a common thing to say, go and talk. Break down the meanings of the words to prove why it means that, and that's your anagogic. And then I've explained it all literally, so now it's got a new definition literally, and for some that haven't heard that before, you might have had an aha moment, which means you've just added on to your DNA chain, right? The aha moments are your DNA chain. And isn't it funny that King Mean, also known as Aha, creator of the Narmer palette, and also his family line is Scorpions, so he is the Scorpion King. Had to watch that one as well, right? And what is the Narmer palette all about? Well, it's for me, it's complete hex of the name and any form of writing. Now remember, write is ritual, R-I-T-E. So that is a physical effect representation of a very spiritual, very powerful spiritual intent. So when you are physically writing something, you are creating magic spells, creating a reality. If you want to question that, then write a nasty email to someone and see what you've created. Write a nice one and see what you've created. Write a boring one and see what you've created. If you want proof of how you can convey your intent. And this gets very clear very quickly with this movie Branded. All right, let's go down means for a sec. Amazing Bible Timeline with World History was the .com. AmazingBibleTimeline.com is this article is. So I just want to share this. Actually, I always like to share who did it. Doesn't seem to have anyone as an author. But anyway, it's you and me anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Means. Okay, so king means. Ancient Egypt was once composed of two kingdoms, Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. Sound familiar? As above, so below. Physical, spiritual. Keep it there and you'll see what's going on here. The cobra symbolized Lower Egypt, so there's your serpent snake, okay, your emotions. While the lotus symbolized Upper Egypt. Now, don't forget, Lower Egypt is at the top and Upper Egypt is at the bottom. It's upside down on the Nile, okay? So, yeah, nothing like screwing your head around. But anyway, the cobra symbolized Lower Egypt while the lotus symbolized Upper Egypt. King Menes of Lower Egypt unified the two kingdoms after conquering Upper Egypt, is a descendant of Ham. That's another biblical character. That just tells me very simply that the spirit got duped at that point. That's what united them. Come on, play with the rest of us. Yeah, okay, sure. Anyway, King Menes started the dynasties of Egyptian pharaohs that continued until the death of Cleopatra and the successful Roman invasion of Egypt. There's that Roman thing again. He was the first pharaoh who was able to wear the crowns of the two former kingdoms, just like Henry VIII, or I think it was Henry IV, Henry Tudor, was able to wear the red and white roses when he ended up, he married someone from the White Roses, so to bring it together. So there's another fractal of the same story. So he was the first pharaoh who was able to wear the crowns of the two former kingdoms, the white crown of the upper kingdom and the red crown of the lower kingdom. And there's that red and white again, the purity and the emotions. The king of the two united kingdoms resided in the original lower kingdom, because he loved his physical, the more industrialized portion of the two kingdoms even today. Of course, has to be the more industrialized. It's all about commerce with these wankers. He built his capital city, money city, Memphis, in the middle of the two kingdoms. And there's that meme, another right in between, meme phi s. So there's the middle of the sacred geometric creation in the divine feminine, serpent s, in the middle of the two kingdoms. So he constructed a big dam there. Imagine that. Let's block the truth. And created another way for the